So they're ready to go here at Hard Rock. Miami at 3-3, 1-2 in the Coastal Division. And we talk about Perry and Dallas and Jordan. And here may be one of the best stories Miami has. The special teams ace, Jimmy Murphy, the walk-on from Avon, Connecticut, who is a terror on core special teams.
A core 4 guy. We're going to get into his story today. One of the best stories in all of college football, and a guy that really loves this University of Miami program.
So we'll keep an eye on Murphy every time Miami takes the field for special teams. Georgia Tech has Wanye Thomas and Tobias Oliver. Deep to take the kick of Bubba Baxa.
And it's big that Wanye Thomas is back there, a guy that had a hand injury earlier in the season, has not been returning kicks, but returned a number of them for touchdowns a year ago.
The kick by Baxa, and Oliver will watch it bounce out of the back of the end zone. So James Graham, the redshirt freshman from Fitzgerald, Georgia, makes his 3rd start here at the quarterback spot today for Jeff Collins, whose team comes in at 1-5 and winless in 3 league games. And
we just talked about it. He has gotten consistently better. UNC game, his 1st start, 171 pass yards. Last week against Duke in his 2nd start, 206. Looking to see another uptick in that this week against a Miami defense that may be the best that he's faced so far.
Jerry Howard wears the number 90 today in honor of the late Brandon Adams. Graham to throw and beyond the reach on 1st down of the intended receiver, and that was Amarian Brown. So 2nd down and 10 coming up, and there is Howard from Rock Hill, South Carolina, wearing Adams number 90.
They pass it to a different player each week, does this Georgia Tech team. So when you see number 90 in the backfield, it's not a defensive lineman back there. It usually wears number 5.
J.P. Mason on the carry. And Mason picks up almost 8 on 2nd down before Rousseau makes the stop for Miami.
Well, if Georgia Tech fans were looking for a star to come out of this season, J.P. Mason is the guy that you are most excited about for the future. His ability to make people miss, his ability to break tackles has made him one of the top rushers in the ACC this year and has put Georgia Tech in a 3rd and short situation.
Jackets, though, Roddy, 13th in the ACC at under 33% on 3rd down. They were 8 of 18 at Duke last week. Miami defending its 7th best on 3rd down in league play. And here is Graham trying to get to the edge, and Romeo Finley gets him around the shoe tops, shy of the 1st down line.
Well, James Graham actually has an opportunity. Watch as it's a quarterback sweep. Mason's out in front. Right here, he's got to turn it up and take on the linebacker coming across, the safety, Gervin Hall. He's got to knife that up, take on Gervin Hall, get those 3 yards and convert the 1st down. Instead, he tries to get outside of Romeo Finley, is not able to do it, and Georgia Tech has to punt the football on an opportunity to convert on your 1st possession of the game.
So Miami has DJ Dallas back to return the punt of Presley Harvin. And it will roll inside the 10 and be down at the 9. We got word about an hour before kickoff that Jeff Thomas, who returns punts and kicks for Miami, has been suspended for the ball game today for violation of team rules. It's a 57-yard punt by Harvin. And here is N'Kosi Perry from Vanguard High School in Ocala, Florida, Roddy.
Well, he started 6 games for this Miami team a year ago. He came in to spell Jaron Williams after the 3 interceptions and the injury in the Virginia Tech game. Threw for 422 and 4 touchdowns in that Virginia Tech game. Guy who's got a lot of experience and has really given this Miami offense a different dynamic with his ability to run.
Play fake back Perry. And here on the Neal side, the ball is underthrown to K.J. Osborne, the grad transfer from Buffalo, who has 23 catches and 3 scores this year for Manny Diaz Club. I thought one of the things they did last Friday night, Roddy, that was very important for Perry was build some confidence with some makeable throws against that Virginia defense.
Well, the one that you saw right there is a very makeable throw. He's rolling out to that side. That's one that you got to complete.
And this is DJ Dallas' first carry. He'll punch it for a couple of yards. third down coming up for a Miami team that is under 28% converting third down this year.
And a big part of the reason for that is this Miami offensive line has struggled handling movement of defensive fronts. N'Kosi Perry was under constant siege last week from that Virginia defense. This is a Georgia Tech defense that is going to move a lot. They're going to send blitzes from all over the place. They're going to move that defensive line. Look at how many guys up at the line of scrimmage that N'Kosi Perry is having to sort out here on this third down.
Perry with the blitz coming, fumbled the ball, and into the end zone. Georgia Tech has recovered for the touchdown. Slapped out by Demetrius Knight, and Jeff Collins' team gets a huge early break.
Well, this is what you call a zero blitz. There's no safety help in the middle of the field. It's all man-to-man. You get number 17, Demetrius Knight, the true freshman, coming unblocked from the edge. N'Kosi Perry does not protect the football. It's a fumble in the end zone, a scramble for it. Georgia Tech with a monstrous play for an offense that struggled for the defense to create points. Jeff Collins has to be pleased.
Jaquan Griffin, I believe, fell on it for the touchdown.
Rolling on the field is a touchdown after the play is over on sportsmanlike conduct. Recovering team number 22.
So Caleb Oliver.
Correction on the number was 92.
Oh, so Jaquan Griffin who recovered the fumble. There we have
The
it.
unsportsmanlike conduct foul will be enforced on the kickoff. It is number 2's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
What an early momentum change here, Roddy, for Georgia Tech.
Absolutely, Wes. This is an offense that has struggled, averaging only a hair over 16 points a game on offense, but the ability for the defense to not only create a turnover, but create a turnover for a touchdown is a shot in the arm for this Georgia Tech team.
And the point after is good for Brenton King. So already, early marker for Jeff Collins and the Jackets in South Florida.
Call at your own 10-yard line. Number 17, Demetrius Knight, is going to come scot-free off the edge. And N'Kosi Perry, he's looking at the running back and trying to maneuver a throw to his back because the interior three offensive linemen for Miami are letting their guys go. Way too much pressure in his face, and he makes a crucial error, fumbling the ball into the end zone. And that's the type of play that Georgia Tech needed to stay in this game and get some early momentum.
Well, we've seen each team have it once, right, guys? Some miscues are bigger than others. James Graham, what, a yard and a half, maybe a foot short of the first down, and that one on third down proves costly to Miami.
I mean, it's absolutely huge. The most costly thing that you can have is a fumble in the end zone that's recovered for a touchdown.
Right.
And so miscues by both of these quarterbacks early.
Let's see where the momentum takes the early stages of this game. Georgia Tech, by the way, just their second first-quarter touchdown of the year, and this one by the defense after the offense finally got a marker last Saturday in Durham. The kick from the 20 after the penalty. Here is DJ Dallas, and he'll reach the 36, and that's where Miami's second possession will begin. And DJ Dallas, the junior from Glenn Academy down in the Golden Isles of Georgia. DJ, and Roddy, he's having quite a year now.
He is 6.7 yards per rush, a second behind only Travis Etienne in the league. He's 6th in yards per game rushing in the ACC, but he ranks 16th in rushing attempts per game. That's unacceptable for this Miami offense. He's the most underutilized weapon in the conference right now. He's got to touch the ball more.
That's Pope in motion, and straight ahead goes Dallas for 8 more.
And that's exactly why, Wes. This is a Georgia Tech defensive line that's undersized. You've got a big offensive line, a big physical back that's explosive as well. DJ Dallas has got 4 of Miami's 6 longest plays this year as he exits the game and Cameron Harris comes in.
Yep, so here comes Harris, the sophomore, to spell the junior Dallas.
Interesting up front as well. The most experienced offensive lineman, Donaldson, for the Hurricanes is out right now, and John Campbell, number 74, is in the game. Another freshman. That makes 3 on the offensive line right now for them.
Quick throw here to the near side. This is Osborne. He will fight for the first down. And Miami picks up their first down of the day. David Curry, the tackle, and you look at 45-year-old Manny Diaz, a native of Miami. Everybody's seen the story. His dad was the mayor here, defensive coordinator under Mark Richt, our colleague now at ACC Network. And after a quick trip to Philadelphia for about 2 weeks to be the Owls head coach, he came back to Miami after Coach retired. 1st and 10. And I think we got a procedure call coming on the Canes.
Offense number 9. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
It's on Brevin Jordan, the tight end.
So, Wes, it's interesting because this is Miami's first noon game of the season. And in noon games, Eric knows, and you know as well from having to get up and do these things, it's wake up, eat eggs, warm up, and play. So this Miami team with the early miscues, some of that could be the fact that they're not used to their body clock having to wake up and play this early. We'll see if they can shake off some of this messiness as the game goes on.
Osborne again in motion. Play fake to Harris. Perry for Brevin Jordan, and playing him over the top was Wanye Thomas.
But more importantly, and maybe more worrisome for Miami, is there's pressure on N'Kosi Perry. Something that has been a theme throughout the year. Coming off the edge, Cameron Harris gets matched up against Quez Jackson, the sophomore linebacker. Jackson's able to win and get to Perry. And this is a Miami offense. I'm not going to put it all on the offensive line. But this is a Miami offense that gave up 10 sacks against the University of Florida, 7 sacks against Virginia Tech. And a big reason why N'Kosi Perry has been successful is because he gives them the ability to scramble a little bit. Perry
going to take it on his own here. And he will work across the 45. And it'll be 3rd down and about 11 as Zamari Walton makes the tackle. The strength of Georgia Tech's defense lies in its secondary for a unit that is, if you look at it statistically across the board, is about middle of the road in the ACC. Charlie Thomas, one of the headliners, leads them in sacks, tackles for loss, and forced fumbles. Dallas back in the ball game for 3rd and 11. Perry across the middle, Osborne, a 1st down. To the Georgia Tech 36 on KJ Osborne, 16-yard grab.
We'll watch the pocket on this one. The offensive line is going to be able to hold up. And N'Kosi Perry has an opportunity to step into this throw, let the routes develop, and KJ Osborne comes up with the big catch on a 3rd down. Georgia Tech opting to go zone, the veteran Osborne. It's a little in route, but to make the catch for a big Miami 1st down.
Osborne, who was coveted in the grad transfer market throughout the ACC, has really been a boost here at Miami. Now over 300 yards receiving on the year for KJ Osborne. And there's the 1st down carry for DJ Dallas. Antoine Owens makes the tackle. And we've got a player from Miami who is injured, and it is DJ Dallas who's shaken up. And they waved out the sports medicine folks pretty quick.
Stormed back in that game, but it ended up being not enough.
DJ Dallas out. Cameron Harris checks in. Mallory, the 2nd tight end, is coming to the lineup as well. And here is Perry. Flips it on the screen for Harris. And he will have a Miami 1st down to the 22.5. Wanye Thomas and David Curry the stop. And a flag has been thrown in behind the whistle here. And Jeff McConaughey is our referee today, as assigned by the Atlantic Coast Conference.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit, defense number 21. Half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Zamari Walton ticketed.
This is going to be one of those chippy ball games, Wes. You cannot, under any circumstances, hit a guy in the face. I mean, come on, man.
And often all that does is hurt your own hand.
Exactly.
You know, you're not doing anything hitting a guy in the face with your hand on the face mask.
Sounds like somebody with experience who tells us that.
Exactly.
Caught a few of those in my day.
Getting ready to say, that was offered without a lot of hesitation.
Exactly.
1st and 10, just outside the 10. Miami trying to tie the game, and Harris filling in for the injured Dallas. Picks up about 3 before Carpenter bangs down from the safety spot. So Cameron Harris from Carroll City, 5'10", 205-pounder, who had 60 yards on 10 carries in the narrow loss at Chapel Hill to Carolina. Filling in here for DJ Dallas.
A highly touted recruit coming out of high school. This Miami rush game is still in good hands, and Harris is right there in the Wildcat.
Harris will keep it. Burrow down toward the 6. Not much more against the Georgia Tech run defense that has struggled. 127th nationally at almost 238 yards a game, 14th in the ACC.
Well, this is a situation where both teams have really struggled. Miami has struggled on third downs, 14th in the conference, a shade under 28%. Georgia Tech has struggled 13th, giving up about 44%. This is one of those situations, Wes, where both teams can't lose. Somebody's got to win.
Miami's 12th in the red zone, and Georgia Tech is 5th defending red zone. That is an interesting skew of the numbers, too, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
Here's third down. Perry looking for the corner. Incomplete for D. Wiggins. And I think Trey Swilling's going to get called for pass interference here or defensive holding.
Pass interference. Defense number 3. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down. Timeout.
Trey Swilling out there on the edge. A little shake and bake, and no, there was a little bit of contact both ways. It looked like D. Wiggins got the last push.
Another jacket shaken up on the play. We'll step aside here in South Florida. Well, Bruce Jordan Swilling, who had been very productive for Georgia Tech, not only last Saturday in Durham, but through their last 3 ball games. And that doesn't look good at all for the young man from Brother Martin High School in New Orleans. So after the penalty, first and goal Miami, trailing 7-0. Harris falling forward, and looks like he'll be measured just short.
Miami decided to go big here with 3 tight ends in the game. Harris goes into the pile, and Georgia Tech's able to stop him. I expect the exact same thing here on second down, Wes.
Yep. Cameron Harris, 2 rushing scores on the year. And timeout asked for, and a Georgia Tech player is down. That's Tariq Carpenter.
Tariq Carpenter would be a big loss for the Yellow Jackets. That is the main guy that they wanted to cover tight end Brevin Jordan with today. This will be a big loss for the Yellow Jacks and what they were trying to do schematically versus the Hurricanes if he can't return.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a guy that they expect to not only cover Brevin Jordan in this game, but also to cover tight ends at the next level. I mean, Jeff Collins told us this dude's an NFL player. 6'2", 220, 225 pounds. He can run. Did a great job against Noah Gray, Duke's extremely good tight end last week. And
yeah.
So we'll see what the extent of the injury is and if he's able to return.
Roddy, Georgia Tech strength we talked about in the secondary. Not only Carpenter 6'2", 223, Caleb Oliver 6'4", 212. Zamari Walton is 6'3", 180. Wanye Thomas 6'3", 216. They are a physical looking group in the secondary.
He's right there. Kind of circled all the guys in the backfield, but you say he kind of gets poked in the eye right there. You get a lot of these guys wearing contacts. Contacts get poked out. That one's tough. Just as long as you don't come out looking like one of those boxers that were on Top Rank Boxing last night. Did you catch any of that, Wes? Man, it was vicious.
Second and goal. The fullback is Parrott. Now they tighten up the formation, and Perry just going to ride it into the end zone for the Miami score. Interesting diagram from Dan Enos.
Well, when you see those 2 running backs come up and get close to the quarterback, you know it's just going to be a push for the end zone, a battle of wills, and the quarterback trying to find a soft spot. Eventually he does behind his big center, Corey Gaynor. And the quarterback always appreciates when his center leads him into the end zone on a quarterback sneak.
11 plays, 64 yards. 6 minutes and 18 seconds. Turner Davidson's point after is good. Well, a defensive score for Georgia Tech. Himself for the touchdown rings. Miami has tied the game. All right, now let's go back to the formation here, Roddy and Eric. This is a unique look, right?
Yeah, to me it looks like a rugby play, and you're going against Georgia Tech. They have one of the smallest rosters in college football, and Miami simply says we're going to snap the ball and we're going to get everybody pushing up front, and ultimately our sides will take over, and you see it there. And as we were talking off the break, I don't know why more teams don't do that in college football.
I agree with you. You get a lot of these teams taking shotgun snaps on 3rd and short near the goal line or 4th and 1, and you're taking a shotgun. Just line up, get everybody pushing in the same direction, and get the yard that you need.
Kosi Perry talking to Dan Enos, and the kick through the back of the end zone will make it 1st and 10 for Georgia Tech on just its 2nd offensive possession of the afternoon. Don't forget our Week 8 schedule on ACC Network continues. Boy, a good one in the Coastal. Chris Cotter, Mark Hersley, Kelsey Riggs are on the grounds in Charlottesville for the Blue Devils and the Wahoos. And then at 7:30, ACC Network primetime football presented by Geico. You got Florida State and Wake Forest at BB&T Field in Winston-Salem. Dave O'Brien, Tim Hasselbeck, and Katie George will be there. And the Huddle guys in the studio along the way.
These are the weekends in the ACC that you wait for. I mean, Duke, Carolina, how about a statement in the Coastal Division, and then the late game.
So a block in the back on Miami.
Strange.
So off the 25, Manny Diaz would like a word, and ball went through the end zone. So
these are getting the explanation.
Jeff McConaughey has not yet made an announcement here.
I don't know that I've seen too many blocking the backs on the team that kicks the ball.
Here we go.
During the kick, illegal block in the back. Return team number 14. 10-yard penalty. We will replay the kickoff.
Oh, so they'll re-kick it. Interesting. So what I would imagine Miami's going to do here is try and pin Georgia Tech inside of the 25. As they're going to move the ball up, they're going to re-kick it, and I would guess what they're telling the kickoff team is, hey, we're going to kick the ball high and to about somewhere between the 5 and the 3 yard line, and they're going to try and get down there fast and tackle Georgia Tech. Although, if I'm Georgia Tech, I'm just telling my guys, hey, look, we get a sky catch, we get a sky kick, just fair catch it.
Right.
So. Right, and then it completely eliminates the penalty. I'm not sure of that choice of accepting the penalty there, but and adding it on to go back and kick it.
A unique decision. The penalty was on Georgia Tech. Miami is electing to re-kick to see if they can make it sub-25 from the Georgia Tech starting spot.
But essentially, to win this, you have to be inside the 15, correct?
That's the way I look at it. Now, you know how meetings at special teams rooms go sometime, Ewood.
I hear you. One of the most interesting things from the field that I'm seeing is the constant battle back and forth between the dance-off, which you can see on the screen, between the opposing teams.
Oh, look at this. Kick is fielded up high. And for Georgia Tech, the Jackets get Dylan Leonard, a backup at tight end, to field it. So, and there's 2 yards difference out of that?
Yeah, it's a poorly executed squib kick. You want that squib kick to go all the way to the guys in the back because you got what you wanted. You got a guy returning it. You eliminate the ability for the team to fair catch. And Miami's only choice on that, if they were going to accept the penalty, was to accept it and re-kick. It was a great strategy, but ultimately Georgia Tech comes out 2 yards the better.
Yep. Tobias Griffin, the young freshman whose older brother scored a touchdown earlier in the game on the fumble return, and they flip it to Amarian Brown. Second time we have seen Brown targeted here today, and that's Graham pitching it to him on the sweep for a couple of yards. Well, Jeff Collins told us, his offensive coordinator Dave Patnode upstairs near our broadcast location, said today the objective was to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers, Amarian Brown and Tobias Oliver. Is it caught? It is, and there's Brown. Nope, incomplete is the ruling. Marion Brown, the freshman from Tampa, almost pulled this in.
Instead of trying to block the guys up front, it's a bunch of cut blocks. And then a quick throw to Marion Brown. Romeo Finley does a good job of making it tough on Brown. And yeah, that ball definitely hits the ground. It's a good call by the officiating crew, setting up a third long for Georgia Tech. Brown's going to be in the slot to the bottom of your screen right here. They get man-to-man. You're either looking up top at one-on-one coverage or the Brown down here in the slot.
In trouble, sacked. Trayvon Hill, the grad transfer from Virginia Tech, gets the grade.
They decided to play cover 2 behind a blitz. See the 3-down lineman. Georgia Tech's offensive line has got to sort it out. Greg Rousseau comes through, creating the pressure to force Graham to step up, and Trayvon Hill absolutely finishes off James Graham. It's a really good job of this Miami defense of collapsing the pocket from multiple angles and not letting Grahams escape to run.
KJ Osborne, who's averaging 4 yards on his only punt return of the year. We have not seen DJ Dallas return since the injury. That almost got blocked, and Georgia Tech's going to get a fresh set of downs on Al Blade's attempt at a block. And here's KJ Osborne around the edge, and he'll hurdle for an extra yard to the 33, but I think this is coming back in Georgia Tech to get something out of it.
Yeah, I think you're going to get roughing the kicker here against the punter. Miami absolutely obliterating Presley Harvin after he kicked that punt. Just a bonehead mistake by Miami.
There are 2 fouls in a play, illegal formation, offense, 5 players in the backfield. Personal foul, roughing the kicker, defense, number 7. Those penalties were offset. We play 4th down.
Unforced error on Georgia Tech here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got too many guys in the backfield, and it eliminates what was an aggressive but silly play by Miami. And you can't have those. And that's dangerous right there. I mean, hitting the plant foot of Presley Harvin. It's good to see him get up from that. But if you're Georgia Tech, and that's simple procedural stuff. Make sure you got enough guys on the line of scrimmage and you get a first down. And when you're struggling on offense or struggling as a team with only 1 win this year, you can't have stuff like that.
Wobbly kick toward Osborne on the fly at the 35. KJ to the near side. 35-30, and Osborne stays in bounds at the 15 and fights to the 13-yard line. Some kind of patience on this punt return of 44 yards.
KJ Osborne has proven to be a leader on this football team to do whatever they need. A great job of him catching this punt, going to his right, to his left, and then knowing that the wall's back to the right. He's able to get blockers out in front, almost takes this thing to the house. Presley Harvin, the punter, able to get over and slow him down. And then Georgia Tech's able to rally. But Wes, 1 man on the line of scrimmage is the difference between a Georgia Tech first down and then playing offense and a return down inside the 15-yard line. It's incredible.
And Miami going to the red zone.
Going on the field is under further review.
I imagine they're reviewing the spot of if KJ Osborne stepped out of bounds. You saw around that Presley Harvin tackle, almost stepped out. So that's what I imagine they're looking at upstairs. Manny Diaz is like, come on, just let it stay. Just let it stay. It's fine.
Come on, guys, we're good.
We don't need to look at this. This is fine. Let's keep moving.
One thing that I often heard in special teams meeting is nothing good happens after a re-kick. So those guys had just got done covering a punt where KJ Osborne maneuvered a little bit and really wore out the punt team. Then you get the punter who just got hit. He hits a low line drive punt, and it was a perfect storm set up for KJ Osborne to give Miami great field position.
Yeah, and they're going to confirm this. Yeah. How about the fancy footwork by KJ Osborne?
Well, and the other part, too, you get to the top of the return, the patience he has coming to the near side on the return to allow, and by the way, good discipline by Miami on the punt return.
No, there were a lot of kill shots set up.
Right.
Didn't take any of them.
The review, the rolling on the field stands, first down.
You simply screen off those guys, and Wes, my punt return career may have been brief in college for reasons that we won't talk about.
Yeah.
But a couple of good ones were in there, and the coaches always used to tell you, hey, look, the first guy's on you. It's usually the long snapper that gets down there. The first guy's on you. KJ Osborne made the first man miss. You get to the wall and get down inside the 15.
Wouldn't you like to share why it was
No,
brief?
I do not, sir.
Okay,
Thank
just
you.
checking.
It happened.
1st and 10 Miami. 7-7 ball game. Harris with Perry. Looking toward Osborne. Caught it. Did he stretch it inside the pylon? He did for the score. What a catch. And what an effort to get the ball inside the pylon for KJ Osborne and the touchdown.
The thing that I love is they dance with the one that brought him. You go straight back to KJ Osborne with the back shoulder throw. He's able to catch it, strong hands, put it in the end zone for the big touchdown. It's a really good back shoulder throw by N'Kosi Perry. Really good awareness by KJ Osborne. The guy got you down there. Let him finish it off. Well done by Miami.
In the span of 2 minutes and 13 seconds, Miami has gone from 7 down to 7 up. Great camera work by our director, Adam Bryant, and his crew here, too, on the Osborne touchdown catch.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic. They do a great job every week, and you see the fade ball. Watch where it is. KJ Osborne falling away from the defensive back. It's when those two players, the quarterback and the receiver, are on the same page, he does a great job of pressing and then falls back, and guess what you get? Touchdown rings. Touchdown rings.
So it's 14-7 in just a couple of minutes difference here at Hard Rock Stadium. And all of a sudden, Jeff Collins' team, who had a great defensive stop, forced a turnover. Cashed in on the recovery by Griffin. Now finds themselves playing back uphill against a team that last Friday night picked up the biggest win of the year after one of their toughest losses, Roddy. You can't go back and speak enough to just 6 days of difference, if you will, from a loss to Virginia Tech where you fell behind, had a furious comeback, to then turn around and beat Virginia and put yourself in a situation to stabilize yourself in the Coastal Division. Don't forget our signature football show here on ACC Network is The Huddle. Jack Collinsworth, Eric McLean, E.J. Manuel, Mark Brick get you ready for ACC football like nobody else. They preview the weekend slate, keep you updated on all things. Next Friday night, 8 o'clock. Next Saturday at 3, right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. We had a lot of across-the-board picks today by The Huddle.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of just... all 3 guys took the same team.
Look, I think they keep track of that stuff, so you're either going to get all of them having great weeks or all of them having not so great weeks.
First down play, and the give is to J.P. Mason, the redshirt sophomore Jordan Mason, who's had 10 or more carries in 4 of the 6 ball games so far this year for Coach Collins.
Guys, this is a big drive for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is not built to come from behind, and that's happened to them a number of times this year. Their passing game, coming off the triple option offense with this new offense under Jeff Collins, it is tough for them to come back in games. This is a very important drive for the Yellow Jackets.
I agree, Eric. And you got to get into a third and manageable situation where Georgia Tech has the threat of the run or the pass.
Here is Graham. And he'll get the first down and out of bounds. Up at the 42 goes James Graham.
I like it. I like the play call. Georgia Tech able to get James Graham out in space and then able to convert the first down. If I'm Georgia Tech now, I want to take a shot. Let's put some pressure on this Miami defense, take a shot down the field, and at least let them know that you're a threat to do it. Find a guy, Tobias Oliver, who's on the field. He's going to be to the top of your screen. He and Amarian Brown are both up here. If I'm Georgia Tech, I'm going to one of them.
This is Mason dodging at the right and stretching it for 9, almost 10 before Patchen, the 5th-year defensive end, Scott Patchen, the tackle.
Georgia Tech starting to operate with a little tempo here.
And Graham just going to push this through, and a flag will be thrown from the secondary. Did they catch Miami with an extra guy on the field?
Illegal substitution, defense, 12 players in formation at the snap. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Here is Blake Baker, who worked with Manny Diaz at Louisiana Tech and joined the Miami head coach not long after he became their head man here in Coral Gables.
He's a guy, Blake Baker was a guy that Manny Diaz was familiar with previously, having worked together. He's done an excellent job with this Miami defense, especially last week, getting them refocused.
Yep. Ball at the Canes 44. Final 2 minutes of this first period. Howard picks up 3. Silvera the tackle.
Nice little triple option from Georgia Tech, motioning Amari and Brown into the backfield. And you can see them trying to set up something where they get Amari and Brown out on the perimeter with the ball in his hands.
Well, they threw the wheel route to Howard for the touchdown last week in Durham against Duke. You would think with Brown and Oliver, that wrinkle from the offensive set, it'll be interesting to see when they get the throw game cranked up here, because so far Graham is just 1 for 3.
A little confusion between the quarterback and running backs. Tobias Oliver motioning in the backfield.
Here's Oliver's first carry. A flag is down. He turns the corner and will be brought down out of bounds. And there's a 4th flag that has been thrown in the secondary. The Miami tackle made by Robert Knowles.
To me, it didn't look like everybody got set before Oliver went in motion. So that's one of them. I don't know what the one that you're going to get in the backfield is, the defensive backfield is. See Tashard Choice, the running back.
2 fouls in a play, illegal shift. Offense number 10 and number 8. Holding. Offense number 10 will enforce the holding foul. 10-yard penalty, first down. Correction, second down.
Well, the former Georgia Tech running back Tashard Choice, who was recently inducted into the school's Hall of Fame a couple of weeks ago, the night before the North Carolina game, played with a passion and coaches with one too, Roddy.
Yeah, he's a rising star in the coaching profession, has done a great job with these running backs. And that penalty aside, Jordan Mason has really been one of the guys to emerge, and a lot of it is because of the leadership and tutelage of Tashard Choice, who was a fantastic player here. Deuce for the Jackets.
Yeah, I got the pleasure of blocking for him in the NFL as well, and Tashard was a great back, and he's making a big impact on this program with his energy and passion he brings.
Yep. And working that pin cap, by the way. Did you see that? Second down, 17. Graham has to bail under the pressure and will throw it away. Greg Russo and Shaq Quarterman were on the bus chasing James Graham.
Honestly, due to the confusion, I'm surprised, but the pressure's going to come here from the left side of your screen. Oh, excuse me, came from the right. James Graham escaping to his right, throwing the ball out of bounds, but Miami blitzing to the side of that trips, forcing James Graham to have to make a decision quick. And now you're in 3rd and 17. If I'm Georgia Tech, I'm pulling out my best play to get me 10-ish yards and set yourself up for an opportunity to go for it on 4th down.
Yep. Play clock down to 1, and delay a game is the penalty on the Jackets. Well, they got a timeout called.
Prior to the play clock expiring, timeout, Georgia Tech. 30-second timeout.
Timeout for Jeff Collins, his first. Boy, Graham, by the way, Trayvon Hill here caught him flush.
Yeah, and there's nothing malicious there, but the guy takes off on the snap, trying to slow down, quarterback goes down. It's just one of those things that happens during football.
Guys, I have an injury update on DJ Dallas. He's going to be taken into the locker room and being evaluated. They're going to get an evaluation at halftime to see if he can return for the second half, evaluating for a knee injury.
All right. Thanks, Eric. DJ Dallas is down here with the right leg going on the bike, the left leg not moving very much.
And a guy that has been fantastic for this Miami team. Not only those 6.7 yards per rush, but when you look down the Miami longest plays of the season, you get four of the first 6 are that guy, DJ Dallas. So Miami would lose the explosiveness from the running back position that they've had with Dallas in the game.
3rd and 17. You see the bunch look at the top. And this is Adonicus Sanders. There's your 10-yard play, Roddy.
I think you're close enough where you go for it here.
Bubba Bolden, the Southern Cal transfer from Bishop Gorman in Vegas, lowered the boom.
It's just a simple screen out to the receiver. It's a pretty good job by the receivers of at least providing resistance, and Georgia Tech's able to get in striking distance, but they're going to opt to punt the football. Miami looks like it's going to be in punt safe, being aware of the potential fake, but Georgia Tech opting to punt here.
They're going to fake it and throw down the far sideline, and caught, and a touchdown. The Jackets score with Nathan Cottrell, his 2nd touch of the football this year.
Presley Harvin just dropped a dime. What a play by the linebacker. Nathan Cottrell's just going to stutter and go up the sideline. Runs right by the defensive back, who just falls asleep. Pass down the field. Nathan Cottrell catches it. Great catch on the sideline, and Miami is stunned.
With 10 seconds to go, Nathan Cottrell, who only had 1 carry this year for -3 at Clemson, has now caught a touchdown pass.
Well, DJ Ivy's the cornerback on that side, and what he's thinking, I bet, is, hey, it's punt safe. This guy's just going to try and go down and down the ball, so I'm not going to run down the field with him. But it cost this Miami team because Presley Harvin throws the ball and touchdown.
Britton King, and the point after good, and all of a sudden it's 14-all. And what a play by Nathan Cottrell.
Georgia Tech's touchdowns, Wes. Strip sack in the end zone for a touchdown, fake punt for a touchdown when Miami's in punt safe. I mean, the miscues for this Miami team, Manny Diaz is going to be pulling his hair out on the sideline, but Georgia Tech is taking advantage of some opportunities that Miami has given.
And Cottrell, one of the more veteran players that Jeff Collins inherited on a very young roster as a whole, Roddy, comes up with a huge play. But your man Presley Harvin now.
Get you a punter who can do both, Wes. Could punt the football, almost made a tackle on KJ Osborne on the sideline, and then threw a pass down the sideline, an absolute dime. And I promise you, he's going back to the coaches like, Coach, it didn't matter if he was covered. That thing was going to be a touchdown. That throw was so good.
Last week they put Jordan Yates in for that the 2-point conversion. They could have put in Presley Harvin. He's showing off some quarterback skills. And Roddy, you mentioned it right before the punt. Alert for the fake. You're in plus territory. You're across the 50-yard line, and you also are a 1-5 team. You have nothing to lose.
Here's Miami on the short kick, and the Canes are going to push it back across the 45-yard line. And I think that is Robert Burns on the 15-yard return.
A little confused by the decision to pooch kick it there, but either way, Miami ends up with the ball in pretty good field position in what has been a weird momentum game so far.
Told you at the top, the last 2 meetings have been decided late on final possessions. Here is Harris trying to get cranked up. Midfield and more. Cameron Harris knocked out of bounds at the Georgia Tech 30. That'll be the final play of the first. Well, after strange things first 15 minutes, here we go with quarter 2. Tied at 14, and Miami's got great field position. 1st and 10. Georgia Tech's 30, and Perry to work with Cameron Harris in the backfield. Nkosi sacked. Boy, that is another big play for Griffin, and we get a Quick check with Jack Collinsworth.
All right, Wes. Well, Trevor Lawrence threw 2 ugly interceptions early. Then he responded, EJ.
And this is exactly what you do as the best quarterback in the country. You respond, you throw a strike right here for a touchdown, and it got him.
Clemson leads 10-0, Wes.
All right, Jack, thanks. 14 all here at the Hard Rock, early second period. Jaquan Griffin has recovered a fumble for a touchdown. Now sack of N'Kosi Perry. The screen, they try and go back underneath for Pope, and Trey Swilling handled that beautifully for Georgia Tech.
He certainly did. Trey Swilling trying to step up for this defense after a weird first quarter. I mean, you mentioned the fumble recovery for a touchdown. Georgia Tech's got a touchdown pass on a fake punt. KJ Osborne had a touchdown catch after you got a roughing the kicker by Georgia Tech that was wiped, roughing the kicker by Miami that was wiped out by Georgia Tech not having enough guys on the line of scrimmage, which led to a big punt return. So, look, your bingo card's looking pretty good so far if you're playing Coastal Division bingo.
Almost a minute and a half into the quarter. That's Jordan, the tight end, who's been quiet so far. Perry trying to go down the middle of the field, looking for D. Wiggins, and broken up by Trey Swilling again.
That's why Trey Swilling is going to be an NFL player. He's in man-to-man coverage, one-on-one. N'Kosi Perry actually steps up, makes a decent throw, but Swilling able to fight through the receiver without committing a penalty and then get his hands on the football. It's a really good play there by the cornerback, stepping up in a big situation for his team.
And Lou Headley going to punt it. There's the Aussie to Josh Blancato. One step. And the big fella hangs it up, and Jimmy Murphy will down it at the 6-yard line. To the cheers of the Hurricane faithful.
The guy that loves playing football for the Canes.
Gratuitous route to football, but living a lifelong dream playing at the U, Eric.
He is, and it's easy to make the Rudy Rudiger reference with him, but he hates that. He is a ball player for this team. He has made a ton of plays this year, and he's been a captain for them.
Here is Graham and Georgia Tech on their first play with Miami chasing. Quarterman hammers him, and Graham will throw it away into the Miami bench. We had it. Shaq Quarterman came on a missile ride here.
He certainly did, and James Graham is looking for the early throw, but because of the rollout, it gives the linebackers a free run basically at the quarterback if they're able to get around the outside, and he certainly did, forcing Graham to throw that ball out of bounds.
Graham just 2 of 6. The most veteran player on this Miami team. Mason cannot break away. In fact, will get back to the line and no more in 3rd and 10 coming up as Quarterman makes the tackle again.
Shaq Quarterman here in the middle of your screen. Watch how he plays this. He's physical at the point of attack, able to fill the hole, make the tackle on Jordan Mason, and it's 3rd and 11 for Georgia Tech on their own 5. Jackets better be careful here.
Georgia Tech 0 for 3.
Miami, a lot of guys around the line of scrimmage. Georgia Tech going to check with the sideline, check something else. Usually a defense will check to coverage after showing pressure.
Graham wants to throw, being pressured, under duress. He threw the ball, or did it roll out of bounds at the 1? Looked like he was trying to make a throw. If they ruled he fumbled it out of bounds, he fumbled it out near the 1.
Yeah, that's a big 3 feet, because if he fumbles it out of bounds in the end zone, it's a touchback. Or excuse me, safety.
On the field as the runner's forward.
The ball comes out
at the 1-yard line.
just before the knee goes down, and it is out at the 1-yard line.
Wow. Michael Pinckney.
That's actually kind of a heads-up play by James Graham of letting go of the football. I mean, I don't know if he meant to do it, but it saves him from a safety.
Well,
To me, you can't advance the ball on a fumble, correct? So he fumbled it from inside the end zone. Shouldn't that be a safety?
Right, but if the knee is down in the end zone and the ball is out of the end zone when the ball is fumbled, look, we're going to get a review. That's a good call by you, Eric. So,
well, and we're fortunate today here in Miami to be joined by the National Coordinator of Football Officials, Rogers Redding. And there's a lot to go over here, Rogers.
Yes, sir. He drops back into the end zone, and it looks like he flips the ball out from the end zone. So the ball, and even if he's down, if the ball is broken and playing back into the field of play, then that's in the field of play, so that would not be a safety.
And Rogers, if he flips it like that, could it be considered a forward pass as well?
It could be considered a forward pass as well. It looks more like a fumble, but you could consider that a forward pass, and that may be what replay is looking at, because it's a little bit questionable as whether that's a pass. It's more likely to be ruled a fumble. But if that's a forward pass, it's an incomplete, and you just go back to the previous spot.
Right, go back to the 6 and call it even.
Interesting decision here, but Georgia Tech opting to go with a drop back pass, and Pinckney makes a really good play getting out there and forcing the issue, but Georgia Tech a little fortunate there either way. That very well could have been a safety.
Rogers, now there'll be somebody that says, I don't see a receiver in the area.
Well, he's outside the tackle box.
That's
You're
correct.
right about that.
Yeah.
If you had not a receiver in the area, and clearly he doesn't get the ball beyond the line, so you could call intentional grounding.
There we go. Okay.
But again, it would be at the spot, not in the end zone, because it's where the ball is, not where the player is.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. 4th down.
In some ways, Georgia Tech catches a break there, Roddy.
Yeah, they do, and the reason it would stand, and Rogers, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not clear and obvious either way. So the call on the field stands.
Yep.
And you play from the same spot.
Right, and so they're just affirming, not confirming, but letting the play stand, because they had nothing no indisputable evidence to take it the other way, to overturn it.
Osborne on the return. He had a good one earlier, trying to find another seam. Boy, Miami, excellent field position at the plus 31. 17-yard return. We're tied at 14 in the second. So the Deeks and Knowles from BB&T Field. Our man Tim Hasselbeck has a preview.
Florida State, we've seen them get off the fast start. So much speed at the wide receiver position. I would expect them to really challenge Wake Forest in their lack of speed in the secondary, much like we saw Louisville do a week ago. And for the Demon Deacons, Jamie Newman injured last week. We could see Sam Hartman. I'm not sure it matters who's at quarterback for Wake Forest because of the talent they have on the perimeter. Whoever's at quarterback is going to be trying to get Sage Surratt the football. I think the only thing that might be able to slow this one down might be the weather that's rolling in. So we'll see you tonight, 7:30, ACC Network.
Oh, really?
Dime.
Hasselbeck throwing dimes on this broadcast. Cameron Harris cuts back and picks up 12 on first down before Zamari Walton makes the tackle.
Walton's helmet comes off, so he has to exit for a play. But you get a puller coming around the outside. That's Zion Nelson, able to seal off the edge. Cameron Harris, tough run, and spelling DJ Dallas, who has not yet returned to the game.
44 yards on just 5 carries now for Harris.
Keep feeding him.
Pretty good average. Brevin Jordan lines up as the fullback here, guys, on 1st and 10.
Yep. When they do this, they like to motion him out and try and get him matched up.
Harris again. Got chopped down after a yard. Quez Jackson, coming off his best game of the year last Saturday at Durham, makes the play for Georgia Tech.
Quez Jackson is a guy that Jeff Collins talked about in his radio show this week. He said that often at times at practice this year, they've had to cool him down because he's laying such big shots in practice that they have to calm him down. But Jeff Collins said, you know what, I kind of like it, and I like the attitude of that young man.
Tell you what, outstanding high school program in Peach County in Fort Valley, Georgia, for the sophomore Quez Jackson. Perry looks right and dropped by Wiggins. Boy, D. Wiggins is standing right on the first down line. Second drop.
It's a good read by N'Kosi Perry. He lets this ball go before Wiggins is out of his break, and as soon as Wiggins turns around, That ball a little bit on the inside, but it's got to be caught by a receiver. That's something that receivers struggled with N'Kosi Perry in the game last year, was the drops. They've been better this year, particularly with KJ Osborne coming in and providing leadership. But remember, Jeff Thomas out for the game today.
Yep.
Violation of team rules.
Yep.
So Wiggins getting more playing time.
Miami back with a two tight, two wide set here on 3rd and 9. Perry to Harris. He's got room. He's got a touchdown. Second touchdown pass of the day for N'Kosi Perry.
Well, the screen game is something that Eric asked Dan Enos about last week, and Enos is counting on the fact that this Georgia Tech team is going to have to send blitzes to be able to create pressure. So what's the answer to a blitz? It's a screen nicely executed by the Miami Hurricanes, and it ends up in a touchdown.
Great job on my man Corey Gaynor, the center, out in front of that one. And for an offensive line that struggles in pass protection, screen game can be excellent for them.
Well, screen pass has been awfully good to the Canes here the last couple weeks. We'll tell you why when we come back.
Or not that good where you're just getting free runs all the time. Be self-aware of that and go back and make a play.
I mean, those defensive linemen think, I beat him on the snap. Next thing you know, screen.
And that kick just inside the pylon for Baxa. So the ball will be at the 21 for Georgia Tech. Let's check again with our ACC Network studio.
We got a good one for you, Wes. NC State at BC. It's a fun highlight right here. David Bailey, all 250 pounds of him. E-Mac, what do you see?
54 yards to the house. This offensive line has been tearing up NC State all day long. You see David Bailey here getting to the house, Jack.
500 pounds of tailback is rolling, Wes. Back to you.
Wes, that's rumbling, bumbling, stumbling if I've ever seen it.
Yeah. Here is the give, and this is Tobias Griffin, the freshman from Rome, Georgia. One of the most decorated players in the state a year ago. It was a coup to the Jeff Collins recruiting class after he was hired in early December.
This guy's committed to NC State and looked like a lock to go to the Wolfpack. Can you imagine this guy in the backfield with Bam Knight and Jordan Houston? But
right.
Jeff Collins able to go to him and say, hey, you can stay close to home.
Play with your brother.
Play with your brother, Jaquan.
Yeah.
Mama can come see you all the time. You can go get some of that cooking up in Rome, Georgia. And Tobias Griffin signed on.
Ronda, you're pretty used to that recruiting pitch for Georgia Tech, aren't you?
And it got me.
Yeah. Stay close to home. And now Graham off the read for the first down. Well, Tobias Oliver without a catch. And really without a touch, Roddy, for one of the best athletes on the Jacket roster, if not the best athlete.
Yeah, and you see the first 4 games are when he was playing quarterback. Opportunity to throw the ball, obviously run the ball from the backfield. But since he get a big hit from the right side of the line, his big number 94, Trayvon Hill, once again making his presence known. But since you got the quarterback switch, James Graham takes over at quarterback, they have not been able to find ways to get this guy the football. And Jeff Collins has told us he's an elite athlete, an SEC caliber athlete, dynamic with the ball in his hands. And they've got to figure out a way to get him the ball at some point during the game.
Yep. Here's the throw for Brown into a lot of traffic. It'll be incomplete, and now 3rd and short, or 3rd and long coming up, I should say, after the hit was made a moment ago by Hill. So very quickly, the first down conversion run by Graham has turned into 3rd and 11.
Yeah, and going back to Tobias Oliver, this is a guy that's got NFL talent. Now, obviously, the coaches go to him and say, hey, it's not at the quarterback position, but has not seen the field all that much. And on series like this, where you need yardage, need to respond, I'd have 8 out there.
Yep. They'll flip it, and almost caught by Mason. Or no, Jerry Howard, 90. So it'll fall incomplete, and Georgia Tech on their 5th play will punt. They are 0 for 5 now on 3rd down. And the Jackets, who now trail by a touchdown, have to be careful here in the final 9:05 of this first half. This is last week. Duke really poured it on late in half number 1.
Yeah, they did. Miami has started consistently with really good field position. See if Presley Harvin can flip the field here.
Osborne drifting left. It'll back up and will be touched up by Georgia Tech. Breaking the action.
Field position in the last 4 possessions. 2 of them starting in Georgia Tech territory. The other one just shy of midfield, and then one on its own 36. This actually the worst starting field position in those last 4 possessions here on their own 28-yard line. But when you get short fields, it's that hidden yardage that coaches like to talk about. It gives you an opportunity to create easy scoring opportunities.
3 receivers and the tight end for Miami and N'Kosi Perry, who was 6 of 10 for 60 yards and 2 scores. And this is Harris blazing into the secondary and almost 15 yards on first down. Avery Showell out of the secondary for the Jackets on the stop.
Watch the ability of this Miami offensive line up front. Number 53, Ja'Kai Clark, the freshman, able to put a big block on at the line of scrimmage, opening up a hole up the middle for Cameron Harris to get right through. And I like this Miami team, how they're looking in the run game. If I'm them, I'm going back to that until Georgia Tech stops it.
Jackets trying to show pressure. Perry in trouble, going to flip it. Here's Jordan to catch. Brevin Jordan to work up to near the midfield line. Eric, this is kind of all in one what Brevin Jordan brings to the table here. I mean, makes a tough athletic catch, gets the turn, and moves upfield for 8.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to get him the ball in the flats. They'll get him the ball on screens. They want to get the ball to him downfield as much as they can. But the issue is, a lot of times, because the tackles have struggled so bad, they have to chip the defensive ends. And because of that, it's hard to get him down the field on some of those longer routes. But he is an absolute NFL tight end prospect.
His 25 catches, by the way, are number 1 in the country among tight ends. Perry, a laser on the inside to Mike Harley. Tell you what, N'Kosi Perry has shown me a little something on fitting it into the tight window here in the first half.
Well, this is a big-time throw. Harley, just a little slant. That ball is put right on the shoulder pad. That's a really good throw on an easy pitch and catch for the Hurricanes. If you're able to make the right read, it looked like there might have been an RPO, one of those run-pass options. N'Kosi Perry delivers it behind the linebackers.
And Harris a couple of yards on the first down play. Caleb Oliver, the guy from the secondary who wreaks havoc for Georgia Tech, makes the play. Tonight, prime time, the Knowles and Deacons in Winston-Salem, presented by Geico. Wake Forest, by the way, averages 85 plays a game. Roddy, number 1 in FBS.
Yeah, Florida State, a team that likes to go tempo as well. You might see as many plays in this game as you did a week ago in the Wake game.
True. Robert Burns has come in. They're going to take the shot down the field. KJ Osborne, the target, was Zamari Walton defending for the Jackets.
I think it was just a go route by KJ Osborne. N'Kosi Perry absolutely unleashes on this thing. Zamari Walton does a good job of kind of running the receivers around for him, cutting him off a little bit.
You got 2 quarterbacks today who are pretty good players, but also have to be reeled in a little bit on the long ball.
Yeah, look, get some accuracy issues when these guys decide to cut it loose. But you see the talent. I mean, the throw a couple plays ago by N'Kosi Perry is why he's so good.
Play fake by Perry. Across the middle, Harley the catch, held on, took a big lick from Christian Campbell.
This is good on 2 fronts. Number 1, Harley holding onto the ball, but Christian Campbell's got to make a choice here on where he's going to hit Mike Harley. Decides to go for the ball, puts his shoulder on it, but not able to dislodge it from Harley. It's a pretty good job by Campbell of resisting the urge to go up high to the head or neck area. And that's part of the reason, you know, when you talk about targeting, those are the hits that you're coaching out of the game, and it's a good example of it right there.
First down and 10. Harris Little sweep here to the boundary. Oh, nice job eluding maybe a tackle behind the line and squeezing a yard or 2 or 3 from it. Jaquan Griffin, who had the fumble recovery for the touchdown, in the mix for Georgia Tech. Inside 5.5, and if you're Jeff Collins, this is the script you're not trying to live through again here today.
Well, with the struggles that Miami has had in the kicking game, it would be huge for this defense to force a 3rd down and then get a stop.
Perry to Harris. And the 3rd and about halfway for Miami. Griffin again, another stop.
I like that play call by Miami. It's one of those where if you hit it, you may score a touchdown. Georgia Tech plays it well, but you're still in a 3rd and 5 situation. And not only is everything in the playbook at your disposal, that includes runs as well. You see Derek Moore, the team chaplain for Georgia Tech, trying to fire up this Jackets defense. We're going to have bunched to the bottom with Brevin Jordan there at the point.
That's Mike Harley in motion. Here's Perry. And off the hands of Harley, who got popped on the spot by Caleb Oliver.
Trying to create a little natural rub. Harley goes up. You got to bring that in first time when it's 3rd down close to the sticks. You're going to take a hit at some point, and Harley bobbles it, not able to complete it, and this has been a little bit of adventure for Miami as of late.
This will be right at 34 yards. Turner Davidson last week kicked a 19-yarder against Virginia. Center of the field. Missed it. There you have it.
Wes, that looked like me taking out the 58 on the golf course. Just getting a little too much of the ground. Not able to put it through the uprights. And what a huge stop for Georgia Tech.
Yep.
When you have a team that has struggled in the kicking game, stops are always important, especially when you get in plus territory. Even more so when you end up with no points on the board, because Miami has not been able to put it through the uprights consistently.
So Georgia Tech will start from its 20 here. Now, Roddy, Miami's going to get the ball to start the 2nd half. Touchdown difference. James Graham brings the Jackets back out. If you could get anything built offensively here going to the locker room, that might be a win and then some for Jeff Collins' team.
You can't go 3 and out. Tobias Oliver in motion. Get that guy the ball at some point on this drive.
Here's Amarian Brown. And he will get 5 on the play. Miami has all 3 timeouts. Georgia Tech 2 as Pinckney makes the stop of Brown, the young man from Tampa who was originally headed to Maryland. Jeff Collins was by himself as the head coach of the Jackets, and he handled almost exclusively the recruiting of Amarian Brown because everybody else was either on the staff at Temple or with their current job. And Collins said, everybody else is having a big old time, and I'm here recruiting by myself. And here is Jordan Mason across the 35 and a 1st down.
A little bit of momentum for this Georgia Tech team. It's just going to be get a puller, lead blocker out in front. Jordan Mason makes a man miss. Tech's got a little momentum here. I like the first 2 play calls, Wes. A quick pass out to one of your playmakers, hand the ball off to your running back.
And breaking away again is Mason. Another 1st down for Jordan Mason. Roddy, they're getting some mileage out of the mesh point, too.
Well, it seemed like 5 Miami guys met at the mesh point. They couldn't figure out to tackle James Graham or Jordan Mason. A couple of guys have shots at him. He gets in the secondary, makes the safety miss. If Romeo Finley's not coming from behind to tackle him, it's 88 and out the gate. But as is Georgia Tech in plus territory, Miami has really got a bead on Georgia Tech, especially when they have these 2 running backs back in the backfield together. They are really selling out to stop the run, not able to do it there, but committed a lot of numbers to it.
Howard and Mason together, and this is Jerry Howard. He'll get 3, maybe 4 before Shaquille Quarterman. The tackle. Quarterman comes in with 38 stops on the year.
Well, Wes, what happens when Georgia Tech goes with those 2 running backs in the backfield next to James Graham is the threat of the triple option comes back into it, something that Tech fans were familiar with for a long time. So Miami has to be option sound on either side. Here they've only got 1 back in the backfield.
2 minutes to go. Mason. And he will be a yard shy of the first down. So 3rd and 1 coming up, maybe a little more than that. And the clock continuing to wind inside 2 minutes now.
Big drive for the Georgia Tech team. Big drive. Had you gone 3 and out, you're giving Miami the ball back with over 3 minutes left in the half. Here they've gotten the clock down inside. It will be inside of 1:30, and an opportunity to continue to go down and score. I'd expect if Georgia Tech doesn't get it here, I wouldn't be surprised if they went for it, Wes.
50 yards on 7 carries from Mason. And they'll give it to him there. A flag goes down. It looks like Mason may have the first down, but the penalty marker. Not sure. Did I see a gold helmet go early here, Roddy?
Well, you saw the indication by the referee. It's going to be offsides on the defense.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty. First down.
There you go.
It was a hard count. Guy jumped across, not able to get back.
Yep.
And Dave Patino told us they were going to go with some of those.
That was on Miami, number 93.
It's one of those aggressive defenses, and Pat Bethel gets called for it.
So Oliver to the top of the screen here for Georgia Tech as you get a look at Big Bethel.
There's Tobias Oliver. 2 safeties in the middle, or back in the secondary, indicates zone coverage.
Graham heaves it for Marion Brown. He held on for the touchdown. What a catch by Brown. 35 yards on DJ Ivey.
What a throw by James Graham. It's 2 over the top, but it looked like man coverage underneath. Safety just does not get out far enough, and that is a well-placed ball on the outside. Amarian Brown catches it, secures possession of the ball, gets the ball inside the pylon, across the end zone, inline, touchdown. And Georgia Tech looks like it's going to go into halftime.
Ruling on the field is under further review.
35-yard score to Amarian Brown. 6 plays, 80 yards in 3:22 if it stands.
Well, it looks like this is, I would imagine this is going to be a pretty quick confirmation. Amarian Brown catches the ball. You see the foot inbounds.
Is the ball, though, on the white before the knee hits?
Oh, there's the knee, yeah. Can't really tell from that angle, to be honest with you.
The ruling on the field was a touchdown. Let's get a look here.
There's the knee. You don't know where the ball is. So from the things that we've seen so far, from the replays that we've seen, there's no way to overturn this.
See what this gives you. Not
again. Where's the ball?
Hard to tell the ball and the knee. Some kind of catch.
From down here, it sure looks like a touchdown. It'd be very tough for them to overturn it.
Well, the national coordinator of officials, Rogers Redding, up here with us today. Rogers, anything we need to double check here in your mind?
Without a look right down the goal line, it's very hard to tell where the ball is when the knee hits.
Yeah.
And so my guess is that they're going to let this stand.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
That's a good call because there's nothing either way, either to overturn it or to confirm it. So stands is the right call. And the official was right in position, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the key there, to get the official right on the goal line. He's got the best look at it in the universe, and so it's a good call.
Yep. And a huge drive for Georgia Tech. I mean, huge.
Oh, yeah. Now King to tie the game. And he does. Boy, I mean, Trayvon Hill came within a whisker of it.
Sure did.
In fact, I'm not sure that Brenton King didn't kick it around Big 94. We're tied at 21 now. 53 seconds to go. And, yeah, you should be smiling, Amarian Brown. Third touchdown catch of the year for the freshman from Tampa.
He was a really big part of that drive. Early in the drive, they go to him on the screen pass to get it started. Jordan Mason got him going a little bit, and then the big catch by the freshman. And let's not forget, James Graham threw that with pressure coming in his face. Able to deliver that to the pylon. Amarian Brown makes the adjustment on what ultimately turns into like a back shoulder throw. And get the ball in the end zone. Huge for Georgia Tech, who's got to believe that got some momentum in this football game. Now they got to come up with a stop.
We're excited on Monday night on ACC Network to bring you a new all-access series. And this one takes you behind the scenes with Carolina basketball. You'll get never-before-seen footage and sounds from Tar Heel practices, workouts, home games, and more. All Access with Carolina basketball premieres Monday night, October 21st, 7 Eastern, here on ACC Network. So Roy Williams with a national title, 2 title game appearances, over 100 wins and 3 regular season titles in the ACC in the last 4, and of course projected into the top 3 already this year with Duke and Virginia and Louisville.
The name you need to know is Cole Anthony, the true freshman who's an absolute baller for Roy Williams.
A good chance you'll see Roddy and Eric Wood at some ACC basketball this winter. You fellows like to get out and see the games.
Oh, you know it.
Here is Harris streaking to the far side. There's a flag thrown in behind, which sometimes indicates a hold as David Curry makes the stop.
Holding. Offense number 51. 10-yard penalty. First down.
DJ Scaife ticketed there. By the way, we get to the second half. One of Miami's best players defensively will be available. Amari Carter was disqualified for this first half because of a targeting call in the 3rd period last Friday night against Virginia. So Carter, the 6'2", 200-pound junior from Palm Beach Gardens, will really help Manny Diaz, Blake Baker in that defensive secondary in half 2.
It's a defensive secondary that struggled, and here with Miami backed up, I'd expect something conservative here, maybe a screen, clock running. It looks like they're going to let the clock run out unless they get a huge play on a conservative play call.
Perry going to keep it. N'Kosi Perry up to about the 22-yard line. Charlie Thomas the tackle. No timeout taken by Miami. Georgia Tech's 21 first-half points, by the way, the most since October last fall against Virginia Tech.
What a game.
Jeff Collins' team riding plenty of momentum, although some of it unconventional here in the first half, Roddy.
Look, it does.
144 to 34 in the first half this year. Finds itself in a 21-all ball game, and Jeff Collins and Georgia Tech looking for their 2nd win of the year. Will kick it away to KJ Osborne here to start half 2. And there'll be no return for Miami. They'll start. The Canes will from their 25 and down to Eric Wood.
I talked to Jeff Collins coming out of the half, and he loves his team's effort. He wants them to just keep playing hard. Offensively, they had some success when they were able to mix up the tempo. They want to continue to do that. And defensively, force another turnover. Get the ball to their offense in a short field.
By the way, big fella, a bird was right behind you during that. It's a big bird.
That's disrespectful.
Sebastian the Ibis getting in on the action.
I'm going to let you handle that with him.
They have to have a talk with the mascot.
Yeah. I don't think Sebastian win that one. Perry on first down, looking for Osborne, broken up by Swilling and a marker throw. Now Jeff Collins and Georgia Tech are not going to like this flag.
Holding. Defense number 3. 10-yard penalty. First down.
It was tight coverage. Let's take a look at it. Trey Swilling to the top. Yeah, he grabs the shoulder. It's clear as day. Once that shoulder gets yanked, it's going to be a call all day.
So first down, the ball spotted up to the 33. How big a drive, Roddy? I mean, I don't want to overstate this, but it seems like a pretty critical possession for Miami.
Well, coaches will tell you the first 5 minutes of the second half are huge. Defense's ability to get off the field offensively get the momentum by sustaining a drive.
Fakes the toss. Perry gets 8, gets 10, and a first down. Christian Campbell lowered the boom, but N'Kosi Perry spun off of that for the first down, and I'm not sure N'Kosi's not a little worse for the wear there.
Well, the reason he was named the starter early in the week today was because Jaron Williams went out a couple of weeks ago against Virginia Tech. And now Manny Diaz told us that Jaron Williams was going to be available, maybe a little bit more available than they expected because of his progression coming back from injury. It looks like it is going to be Williams coming into the game as he warms up.
Yeah, Jaron Williams and the Ohio State transfer Tate Martell both there with helmets, and boy, N'Kosi Perry is in a good bit of pain. There's Martell. It takes a hit from Campbell.
Yeah, right on that left shoulder. It's a good job of him holding on to the football, but looked like Campbell may have gotten him just under where the pads end. Let me tell you, from experience, that is very painful.
I'll tell you what I love and respect about Perry, too. After losing the quarterback competition in fall camp, he sticks around. A lot of times in college football nowadays, you'll see a kid transfer at that time. He stuck around, and his loyalty to the program paid off when he came in the Virginia Tech game and played great, and then leads them to a top 25 victory against Virginia last week.
So Jaron Williams will come back and check in with Dan Enos. Now, here's the thing about Williams, who is from Lawrenceville, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, and went to Central Gwinnett High School. Jaron Williams is a kid who #1 in the ACC in completion percentage, #7 nationally. But Roddy, he's second in efficiency and 21st nationally.
Yeah, and his ability to come back and from this injury and play like he did before is going to be huge for Miami, but may not matter if they can run the ball like this.
Cameron Harris, first down and more into Georgia Tech territory on the 3rd snap of the half for Miami. Harris 18 more yards here.
It's like an inside zone play that Harris just breaks to the backside and makes a man in the secondary miss. Tariq Carpenter to get up the sideline. And as we said, Cameron Harrison, because of the injury to DJ Dallas in the first half, who we've not seen come back, Harris has gotten touches throughout the season. Was a really highly rated player coming out of high school, and very talented running back.
Career high 84 yards for Cameron Harris on a career high 11 carries. There's the 12th carry, and adds to the total. It'll be second down coming up. Kelton Dawson, who's had 14 tackles over the last 3 ball games coming into today of his 22 total, makes a stop for the Jackets.
Well, with Jaron Williams in the ball game now, Wes, the question is, how does the offense change? You're certainly not going to get the quarterback runs that you did with N'Kosi Perry. The question is also, can he throw the ball down the field still with the injury that he's battling? It's been an unspecified injury. Some people have speculated that it's upper body affecting his throwing. And that one looks good right there.
Grips one to D. Wiggins, the 6'3" sophomore from Southridge in Miami. Hauls in another Canes first down ball. 12-yard throw.
That's the first throw of the game that you get from him. The returns are pretty good so far. Adrenaline bumping, and he slings it in there on a slant play for Miami. Manny Diaz told us, coming into the year, they weren't sure if they could win with any quarterback. Now they're sure they can win with 2, Williams being one of them.
Yep. Another one on the inside and off the hands of Pope. Well, the one thing Jaron Williams brings to the table, unquestioned accuracy in terms of throwing the ball. Now, the mobility issue, it's nowhere near what N'Kosi Perry is.
This one a little too far outside, a little too far in front to make it an easy catch, but still a catchable football for Jaron Williams. But Wes, as you said, Manny Diaz before the season talked about the fact that in his quarterback, in this Dan Enos system, accuracy was a huge component to being able to play. You see it reflected in the numbers, and Jaron Williams did not lose the job because of lack of performance.
They fake to Harris. Williams tried to flip it in traffic, and David Curry almost picked it, but did bat it down. So, Roddy, Eric, is that the difference in the screen game now? Perry a little more mobile. They're able to clear the lineman quicker because Perry can push that pocket out, flip it on the screen, because there Williams almost looked trapped trying to make that throw.
You know, the mobility won't come in the screen game. Where it can come into effect is this 3rd and 10. Miami's offensive line has given up a ton of sacks this year. They've given up 28, and a majority of those have come when Williams is in the game because he does not have the escapability that Perry has. It'll be interesting to see here on 3rd down if they can give him protection.
Deep drop. Backs up, and now will be sacked. Jordan Dominic, a freshman redshirt from Lakeland, Florida.
And Wes, that sack's not on the offensive line.
Thank you, Rod.
There was you got it. He would. That sack is a coverage sack. I mean, and it's on the quarterback, to be completely honest with you. When you're in that situation and you've got time and you start to scramble, eventually the clock has to go off in your head that it's not going to happen. You throw the ball out of bounds. That's a little bit of the rustiness. Jaron Williams not going through full practices over the course of this injury.
And the problem is that sack takes points off the board.
Jimmy Murphy again. The guy is a monster on teams for that 89 squad. Georgia Tech scrimmages from its 4. And Mason with a flag thrown reaches the 5 on the handoff from James Graham. And it's a hold on Georgia Tech.
So if you're Miami, you have a decision to make. It's only going to move them back a couple of yards. So
Holding, offense number 78. Penalties declined, 2nd down.
A 2nd down and 9. And the penalty on Jack DeFore, who started his college career at Ole Miss, Rowdy, and then transferred to Atlanta.
Yeah. Well, the last time Georgia Tech was backed up this deep, you had the controversial or maybe a little more confusing James Graham play down near the 1-yard line, almost took a sack.
Sanders in motion. Graham wants to keep it, being flushed to the pocket. He'll put it up for grabs. There's no receiver in the neighborhood.
He's outside the pocket, though, Wes.
Yep, and he was close to the back line of the end zone, too.
Yeah, well, the ball gets past the line of scrimmage, so even though there's no receiver in the area, he's outside of the pocket. As long as he gets the ball past the line of scrimmage, he's going to avoid that grounding call, which he does. And look, I'm not sure what you call here if you're Georgia Tech. It's going to be something conservative. I don't think you drop back to pass. You haven't been able to protect James Graham, so maybe some sort of quarterback draw, quarterback power, just keeping the ball in Graham's hands.
15 in the orange jersey is a problem, by the way. Rousseau's the defensive end at the bottom of the screen. They hand to Mason. Jordan Mason gets a 1st down. Breaks to the left, and out to the 21 goes Mason before Al Blades makes the tackle on a 17-yard run.
Well, the question was, what do you run? The answer is you run something to 27. He's been a beast today. His ability to bounce to the outside hole, explode through it, the offensive line and tight ends holding up at the point of attack. Gave Mason that opportunity. It gives Georgia Tech a lot of breathing room. So from a field position standpoint, this is as huge as converting the 1st down.
68 yards on 9 carries for Jordan Mason, and back to work he goes. Or no, that's Jerry Howard wearing the number 90, and he'll pick up about 5 or 6. The run by Mason, though, the longest rushing play of the day for Georgia Tech. And now Miami finds themselves defensively looking at Georgia Tech's first possession of this 2nd half, and 2nd and medium out beyond the 25. Graham, a little pitch play. Howard here to the near side. He'll be flipped over the 35 for a 1st down. Let's go downstairs. Eric Wood with a special guest.
Coach, congratulations on the award. Tell me what it means to go into the College Football Hall of Fame.
Well, in my profession, it's the #1 thing in the, in your profession, and it's just awesome. The players, the coach, to that, and particularly the University of Miami, and so it's a great honor for all of us and all of us that were involved.
I know this program holds a special place in your heart. Tell me what it means to you.
I mean, when I came here, after following Jimmy Johnson here, we were able to win a national championship that 1st year, and all the people that I met here, all the players, and like I said, all the coaches that coached for me, it means all the world to me.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks.
All right, Dennis Erickson, They had a dinner here last night for the 1989 national championship team. There were some players on this squad now.
Oh my goodness. This is the team that you make a documentary about because of the number of guys, the way that they played. But ultimately, in talking to Manny Diaz and hearing some of these guys talk, it all boiled down to the competitiveness on a day-in, day-out basis on why they were so good. They got after each other in practice.
Here is Tobias Griffin, one of 3 backs who've been pretty effective running the ball today for Georgia Tech. Hall the stop, the leading tackler for the Canes coming in the ball game today.
Well, Manny Diaz talked to Eric at halftime going in about how he was disappointed in his defense's effort on that last drive. So they weren't competitive enough. They didn't provide enough opposition. And the number of missed tackles at the 2nd and 3rd levels, especially on these Georgia Tech running backs, is going to frustrate Manny Diaz. Give credit to Tech's backs. They have made people miss, and I think you go back to him here.
Graham, and he will have the first down. It looked like Miami might have had him fenced in a little bit here, Roddy. And then James Graham does some James Graham things.
Well, they had a shot at him. It's a pull read. He makes a man miss. Number 56, it looked like Michael Pinckney had an opportunity. And then his ability just to power forward for the first down. You got to really be impressed. Georgia Tech has largely gone to a look that would have been familiar last year, at least a scheme with that triple option, goes 2 backs in the backfield, and it's really worked dividends.
Here's Graham trying to sweep. And again, put on the brakes and turns upfield.
Guys, I have an injury update. DJ Dallas will not return to this game for the Hurricanes. He's out with a knee injury. And N'Kosi Perry, they iced down his shoulder, which is bothering him. And he's on the sideline right now trying to loosen up. And it's his non-throwing shoulder, which is good, but he's still in a lot of pain. And they have all 3, Martell, Williams, and Perry, all throwing on the sideline.
Looks like a spring off-season summer drill with QBs, Roddy.
3-quarterback Monty.
Carson Proctor, by the way, is the 4th quarterback in that sequence downstairs. And nowhere here on 2nd down. Tobias Oliver on the carry.
Miami today on 3rd down and long has had a lot of success on defense, lining up in a 3-man line. They'll put the really tall number 15, Greg Rousseau, at nose guard, lined up right over the center, and they've been blitzing off one side or the other, and they've been able to get consistent pressure with that look.
There's Rousseau lined up right over the ball, as Eric was talking about. Had the great game a week ago. It's typically a defensive end. Gives them a lot of flexibility in terms of movement.
Georgia Tech's converted 2 in a row on 3rd down in this drive. Graham misses Oliver the catch. Dives to the 37. And there's the 3rd straight 3rd down conversion in the drive for the Jackets.
You can tell the confidence is there. James Graham's clapping his hands, ready to go. This is a quick throw, the quick read. Goes to Tobias Oliver, one of the best athletes on this Georgia Tech team. Able to get the first down. This is a Georgia Tech team. I don't know if we've seen a drive like this from Georgia Tech really all season in meaningful time.
Right.
The ability to consistently get 3rd downs, to grind it out, to avoid the negative plays, run the football, throw it. It's been really impressive.
Last 2 weeks, they've been a second-half team against both Carolina and Duke. If they pull the trick today, they might get their 2nd win of the year and their 1st in the ACC for Jeff Collins. But they've got a flair for the dramatic here on 3rd down early in this 2nd half.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to want to live in those 3rd and long situations by any means.
And even though Miami came in heavily favored, Coach Diaz told us, he told his team to prepare for another 60-minute battle. All of their games have been tight this year, and he said this one will be no different.
And if you know anything about the Jackets and Canes the last handful of years, they've had late game, last possession finishes. Graham under duress. Cannot get away that time inside from Pat Bethel. Rousseau is a problem for the ACC.
Well, the play is made by Greg Rousseau, who is able to force Graham up in the pocket And the long arms doesn't allow Graham to get out and escape clean, slows him down enough for Bethel to clean him up. Greg Rousseau had one heck of a game against Virginia a week ago, and the coaches kind of told us that he's a guy that is a great person, an unreal athlete, is just learning how good he can be, and sets up Georgia Tech into 3rd and 16.
3 straight 3rd down conversions for Graham and the Jackets. Will there be a 4th? Catch is made. That's the tight end, Devaney.
And now you got enough on that one where I'm not sure you don't go for it here. You're too close to punt. It's too long to kick a field goal. So they're going to take a delay a game and give you some more room to punt the football. Or you pull out your best play call for a 3rd and 7, and you go for it here on 4th down and rely on your defense if you don't get it. Looks like Georgia Tech's going to opt to go for it.
Not surprised, are you?
No, I'm actually thinking about what Jeff Collins will do. I like the aggressiveness here from him.
And now they're going to call timeout because the bench could not get James Graham to look at the bench for what they thought would be maybe a play change. 21 all, 4th and 6, and the Jackets going for it in the neighborhood of 53 yards for Brenton King, whose longest is 42 last week at Duke.
He's starting to meander towards the ball, and Lucas Johnson's coming out. They're going to try it here, Wes. Now, Miami, if you're Miami, Georgia Tech's already run one fake on you.
Right.
That's exactly what I was thinking. You can't, if you're Miami, you cannot let them fake it again.
Georgia Tech's taken the ball from its 4 and moved it into Miami territory at the 34. But on 4th and 6 after the timeout, this would be King's longest field goal. 52 yards. And it flagged down. The kick was good, I believe.
Start offense number 93. 5-yard penalty.
An unforced error on the Jackets.
In a situation where Miami drops back into a safe defense, where they're not even really going to rush the kick. They're going to let Brenton King kick it. He actually made the kick, and TK Chimezda jumps off sides. Oh, you see, he's starting
number
to lead.
84 Miami
right up
has
at the top.
reported
That's where it happened.
Changing his number from number 2 to number 84. Miami number 84.
So KJ Osborne has to change jersey numbers here.
Oh, this is West Durham's favorite.
Yep, double number and a 2 already on the field in Trajan Bandy. So KJ Osborne has to put on the 84 bib, if you will. Presley Harvin just going to try and bang this one dead around the goal line. It will bounce into the end zone, and Miami will take over. Yeah, I could go all day on that deal. Tie score in South Florida. Well, the 14-play drive by Georgia Tech was their longest of the season, but it merits no points. And now Miami takes over after the punt into the end zone at its 20, and we're locked at 21. Roddy Jones, Eric Wood, Chris Damiani, our producer, Adam Bryant, our director, and our ACC Network crew. West Durham with you at Hard Rock Stadium. And here's Osborne back in his traditional number 2 for 5 yards before David Curry making his 20th career start today here for Georgia Tech.
And that was the tackle. And that was N'Kosi Perry back in the game at quarterback, West. So whatever they did on the sideline, icing that shoulder down, again, his non-throwing shoulder is what he left the game favoring. They iced it down. He's back in the football game after Jaron Williams had a series back at under center.
This is just Miami's second possession of the second half, Roddy. And we got 3:10 left to go.
That's what happens when you have a 14-play drive on the other side.
Here is Perry, back foot, hanging it up, but Trey Swilling can't run underneath. David Curry again peeled into the backfield on Perry.
You're going to see the pressure coming right in the face of N'Kosi Perry, who realizes he can't get outside and just throws the ball away. It's a good job of David Curry of pulling up on the quarterback. Miami's had some success in these situations with screens. At least they did in the first half. See what they go to here. Got Cameron Harris in the backfield here and Brevin Jordan right there. Those are two of the guys they like to go to.
Flip it here to Harris. Nice pursuit, Carpenter. Tariq Carpenter, a very physical safety for Jeff Collins. Another open field one-on-one stop.
I feel like this guy's got a big chance to play in the next level, and that's exactly why he's able to read the play. Brevin Jordan's able to come out and trying to sort of pick the guy that's playing the running back.
Yeah, we've seen Jimmy Murphy twice here, Roddy, on special teams. Let's see what we get here.
Yeah. He flies down on the punt team. See what he does.
Double safety for Georgia Tech. Blancato and Amarian Brown. Lou Headley hammers it. And Murphy watches Georgia Tech signal for the fair catch. And Jimmy will down it at the 5.
How about that? Who's the first guy down there? First guy down. Jimmy Murphy.
Well, Eric, it goes back to our story about Murphy. Just a unique route to Miami, but you identified him this week watching tape.
Yeah, we were on a production call on Tuesday. I said, hey, I'm not even sure his name. I was watching the coach's copy. But number 29 is a monster on special teams. Wes, you had already had him on Packer and Durham this year and talking about his touchdown. And as we started talking to people within the program, you know, he's not a one-hit wonder. It wasn't the one touchdown he had. He also added a rushing touchdown this year, and he transferred from Wagner College. And when he came down here, he was forced to sit out last year. And based upon his work ethic, he truly earned an incredible reputation within the program.
He's got an amazing football story, and he's living the dream of playing here at the University of Miami. The give to Mason. Jackets run it. And a heck of a run for 15 on first down for Jordan Mason. Roddy, the Murphy story, it's not unique in college football, but his is different.
It certainly is. He's a guy 24 years old, as Eric said, transferred down. But loved Miami because of the way they used to play. He said in the Ray Lewis years and in the early to late 90s, fell in love with this football team. You can tell what it means to him to be on this team, be a leader.
Maybe my favorite story we heard about Jimmy Murphy was him talking about his dad, Joseph, who owns an asphalt company up in the Northeast. And he said his dad told him, hey, there's always a shovel with your name on it waiting for you at home. So go give it all you can on the football field. And he also wanted to make sure his mom, Lisa, got a shout out as well if we brought up his dad. And that just shows that's a testament to what type of young man Jimmy Murphy is.
Well, he told Mark Packer and me about getting the word that he was going to make Miami's football team.
They shot me an email that says, congratulations, you're a Miami Hurricane. And I was in an Uber at the time with me and my girlfriend, and we were headed to the beach, kind of just wanted to debrief, you know. I was just hoping I was going to make it. And I just yelled at that Uber driver. I said, you got to pull me over. We were on just getting on the highway at US 1, and the guy just looked at me. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, pull over.
So he's in the Uber with his girlfriend going to the beach when he gets the email.
Yeah, and there was a party on the side of US 1. I can promise you that. The excitement of that guy. Incredible story. He talked about his high school football coach, Brett Quinnen, as well, and what he's meant to him and his journey and just the overall belief. An incredible contributor to this team and an incredible leader. But Georgia Tech here is in a 3rd and 10 situation. The ability to extend this drive. They had a good run on 3rd down. Miami's got a lot of people hovering around the line of scrimmage right now.
Sprint out for Graham. Sets, hit as he throws, and it's caught. Adonicus Sanders behind the play at the 40-yard line.
Well, Wes, they're just flooding the zone on a rollout pass. The route distribution doesn't end up being great. Tobias Oliver and Adonicus Sanders a little too close together. It's over the hands of Oliver. Sanders able to come down with it. The question
Going on the
is,
field of a completed pass is under further review.
Was that right foot down when he makes the catch? And it looks like from the initial look at it, it's going to be close. I think that foot is touching the ground when he when he catches the football, but we're going to take a look at these other ones to make the determination.
Guys, I got an update on more injuries from the Hurricanes. A number of their star players already getting banged up in this game, and now Michael Pinckney is getting evaluated for a shoulder. And at this moment, Bandy, number 2, their corner, the former ACC Defensive Back of the Week from this week, is out with a knee.
All right. As we're getting a look at the replay, you can see that right foot looks like it's on the ground. At least the blur of the right foot's on the ground.
Right.
And the ball in the hands of Adonicus Sanders, so looks to me like it's going to be confirmed. I don't know. What did you see, Rogers? Here's the look right there. You see that foot down there on the ground. Ball in the hands. Rogers, what do you think?
We're having a hard time, I think, with Rogers' Reading microphone, but the call on the field here is the thing that always gets me in a scenario like this, because the ruling on the field, Roddy, is a catch.
Yeah, and you see foot down there, ball there, boom. Rogers?
It's a catch. I mean, it seems to me that he's got that foot down. The ball
After
is
further
confirmed.
review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
Yeah, confirmed.
First down.
That's
The
the
clock
right
will start on my
call. It's
signal.
good to review it because it's close and it happens real fast. But you can see from the line feed almost, and certainly from the replay, that foot was down in control. So good call and good review.
I got to tell you, sometimes these situations happen. We're fortunate to have the national coordinator of college football officiating, Rogers Reading, upstairs with us. But sometimes when you come for a visit, nothing happens during a game. I'm good.
I'll say today.
You got your money's worth today, and so have we, by the way.
Third quarter, timeout.
Third quarter in the books. We're still locked at 21. Where do we go in the final 15 in South Florida? Miami trying to stay in the coastal race, and Jeff Collins trying to scratch an ACC play.
It's a nice little shot from Jonathan Garvin, who lets him know his presence is there and makes him feel it. But James Graham showing incredible toughness here today.
And more toughness there as he gets wrestled by Patchen
I'm not
to
sure
the
that
ground.
ball didn't come out, Wes.
And did it come out? There's a scramble at the pile at the 41 of Georgia Tech. Miami Patchen says they have it. Jeff McConaughey and his crew going to try and unstack. And he holds up 2 fingers to indicate second down.
One of these times, one of the defensive players is going to get up and just acknowledge that the offense has it. I mean, they're always lobbying for it. As you see, I'm not sure he wasn't down there.
Yeah, he was. Right?
Yeah, from that review, it looked like hits the ground, ball comes out there.
Yep.
So
second and 9 now at the 41. Fourth and final quarter of play. In the flat, Tobias Griffin. Georgia Tech has gotten some mileage today out of screen passes in the flat, Roddy, or just even little delayed releases out into the flat.
I would say getting the ball to the running backs in general has provided incredible offense for Georgia Tech today. You got to give offensive coordinator Dave Patnode a lot of credit. He has decided that the running backs are the strength. So get them the ball no matter what. Here on 3rd and 4, looks like man-to-man to the top, but it's a handoff.
Jordan Mason around the corner, first down, Georgia Tech to the 43. Jonathan Ford of Miami wanted a hold, didn't get the flag, and boy, Mason is having a great day for the Jackets.
Well, watch the block on the right side of your screen. Hey, that Jonathan Ford had a little bit of a point there, but obviously when it happens in the pile, hard to find all of those. Good job by the Georgia Tech offensive lineman of letting go after the initial tug. Gets outside, and Georgia Tech gets a first down.
Trayvon Hill, 21. We are early in quarter 4, and the Jackets in plus territory. And on their 22nd play of the second half, Mason again driving toward the 100-yard mark, down to about the 36 or 37-yard line. Georgia Tech has run 22 plays to Miami's 10 here in the second half.
This defense has been on the field on a muggy day down here in South Florida, where the temperatures crept towards 90, ended up in the upper 80s. It's, as you see there, Georgia Tech 146 yards of rushing today, way over what Miami typically averages. A lot of mileage on that off-tackle play.
Graham on a sweep, and was going to be a yard short. Romeo Finley, Shaq Quarterman were there for the Canes. 2-down territory, Roddy.
I don't know. Britton King nailed that 52-yarder, so you don't want to take points off the board by trying to go for it here. But if I'm Tech, it's a quarterback sneak.
Tobias Griffin comes in as a running back, and I don't think they gave Graham the measurement here.
Well, he had to get.
He had to break. Right he had to get to the 34.
The 34. Yeah, we'll see where the spot is. Looks like they're going to spot him short.
Yep.
About a half yard.
Here comes Mason back out for Coach Collins.
With a small quarterback and a small offensive line, I don't love that call in the sneak. I think you got to get the ball in Mason's hands here, or get in the shotgun and run some type of read play.
Gonna go under center.
Timeout. Second one for Georgia Tech.
Most impressive is his ability to make tackles, making guys miss, being able to get to the secondary and burst through. Jordan Mason has been an absolute monster, and in big situations, he has come up big almost every time. This is a big fourth down for Georgia Tech. Question is, do you go to the big back? Give him an opportunity. Quarterback sneak still in play, but they're back in the shotgun here. Two running backs giving that sort of triple option look, or at least giving the threat of the triple option that they've had when they've gone with two backs in the backfield and shotgun.
Howard and Mason sandwich Graham. The pitch. This is Mason trying to stretch it out. First down.
Well, it's not the triple, it's the speed option. James Graham presses as soon as Jordan Mason gets leverage, pitches the ball out. He's able to dive for the first down, and once again, 27 comes up big, and Jeff Collins absolutely loves it.
I love the play call. Let these guys do what their comfort zone is. They spent years training for the triple option, and that is these quarterbacks' strength, and I love the play call. Let them do what they do best on 4th and 1.
11:20 to play in Miami Gardens. And Howard hit on the button at the 31. Jerry Howard might be a little worse for the wear there.
Yeah, Ryan Ragone comes in and absolutely plants him into the turf. We're going in because Pinckney exited the game, so it's he and Quarterman. You see Howard had to exit, but the redshirt freshman coming up with a big stop there.
So now Tobias Griffin has come in. Another steady day in a backup role for the freshman Griffin. And he'll get the carry to the right side. Turns the corner, and Tobias Griffin keeps his feet, and Tobias Griffin scores. Touchdown run for Tobias Griffin.
Wes, we've seen it over and over today. Miami linebackers having an opportunity to tackle Georgia Tech backs for a minimal gain. Here Ragone has an opportunity to get him in the backfield. Tobias Griffin breaks the tackle, stays on the sideline, is able to cut through a couple of Miami defenders, and then up the sideline for a touchdown. Question is, did he step out? We'll get a look right here.
Ruling on the field is under further review.
Yeah, and you see the foot right there on the line. This one's going to come back. It's a great run by Tobias Griffin. Great job by our camera crew of getting that shot with the foot on the line. First down is going to stand, but it is going to come back, and Georgia Tech's going to have the points taken off the board.
It will negate the first career touchdown for Rome, Georgia's Tobias Griffin.
So you can see the foot comes down. Can't exactly see where it is, but that other shot told you pretty clearly This one is going to come back, but I don't think you can say enough about these Georgia Tech backs and how they have stayed in and battled and broken tackles, and gotten big yards, and been tough, been explosive. When we came into this game, we thought Miami would be the team to establish the run and really wear down this Georgia Tech defense.
Right.
But it's really been the Georgia Tech offense that looks like it's wearing down Miami on defense with these off-tackle runs, these outside zones. The running backs able to make the linebackers and secondary miss in the open field. It's been very impressive and something that Georgia Tech really has not been able to do consistently. We're starting to see the identity of this Georgia Tech offense develop.
Yeah, and interesting, Coach Diaz was very disappointed with his tackling going into the half, and it showed its head here in the second half. And another thing to note, Roddy, you mentioned the outside zones. Well, it seems like they're attacking freshman defensive end Gregory Rousseau. This is a very veteran defense for the Canes, but they have a freshman at their left defensive end spot, the right side of the Georgia Tech offense, and they have been able to get some creases running off that side, off of the block of Souders, the right tackle for Georgia Tech.
Here's Jeff McConaughey.
After further review, the runner stepped out of bounds at the 26-yard line with the ball in his hands. The ball replays at the right hash, 3rd and 5. Please reset the game clock at 10:26. 10:26 on the game clock.
All right, so there's the game
the clock will
management
start
piece.
on my signal.
But it is 1st and 10, as you alluded.
Well, the announcement made it sound like it was going to be 3rd and 5, I believe. So I may have been off there on exactly where he stepped out and where that was in relation to where the down markers was. But the announcement by Jeff McConaughey
so it is
was
3rd
and 5. So it is going to be 3rd and 5. Georgia Tech in a big situation. Miami still has an opportunity to get out of this without giving up certainly a touchdown, maybe even points, if Georgia Tech elects to kick the field goal. But first is stopping Georgia Tech on 3rd down.
And they're 5 of 7 in the second half on 3rd down. That's Tyler Davis, the tight end, in motion. Snap to Griffin, or Graham turning the edge, and he will step out of bounds, this time near the 20, and that is the 1st down. Shaq Quarterman is the guy who looked like he had Graham dead to rights here.
Well, James Graham just outruns Quarterman, able to give a little fake stiff arm, a little feint there. He keeps the talented senior linebacker at bay. It was a really good block on the perimeter by a combination of Tyler Davis and then the running back, Jordan Mason, kind of sealing that block off, letting him get outside. A good job by the freshman of beating the senior.
Mason and Griffin now with Graham. 1st and 10. And here goes Tobias Griffin again, and Rousseau slows him down. And then Miami collapsed with Quarterman.
Eventually, the wily old vet's going to figure it out. He starts there in the middle of your screen, gets going with that action.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, that is called arriving with bad intentions, Wes. Always hated that as a running back when you're trying to cut back and the linebacker's got a downhill shot at you.
Yeah, he let out a little frustration on that one, and that time Rousseau actually got reached again on the outside, but as he got reached, he was able to penetrate. As a defensive end, if you give up the point of attack on the edge, you have to penetrate back up the field so they can't loop you.
Trying to sneak one back through the middle, and the ball popped out. Miami is recovered. First Georgia Tech turnover of the day. And Quarterman comes up with the giveaway.
Again, the wily vet, the senior linebacker, able to come up with a big play. He's able to punch the ball out, then recover. Give me the fumble force, the fumble recovery, Miami ball with a chance to go ahead.
There have been some unforced errors today, Roddy, that have taxed Georgia Tech in this 21-all upset bid of Miami.
Yeah, and all of these are controllables. The illegal formation negated a roughing the kicker penalty that would have given Georgia Tech a big 1st down. False start took 3 points off the board. Britton King nailed the kick, and then that one, 22-yard line, a fumble. Look at the plays in the second half especially. 30-10. Georgia Tech now with 30 plays, no points here in the second half.
Perry. And this is Cameron Harris. Down the far sideline, and Miami's in business on one snap. Tariq Carpenter might have saved the touchdown here.
He absolutely did. Momentum's a funny thing, Wes. Miami offensive line does a good job. Quez Jackson goes under the block. Cameron Harris able to get outside of Tariq Carpenter. Makes the cutback on Wanye Thomas, and then Carpenter is eventually able to get him out of bounds, but not before an explosive run from this Miami offense.
Perry, who's been banged up today. Harris having a great day. Here's the ball caught, and this is Mike Harley going to work for Miami. And Thomas will knock him out of bounds inside the 20, so red zone possession for Manny Diaz's team in 2 snaps.
How about that after a turnover? This Miami team's been sitting on the sideline, this offense on the sideline for most of the second half, but because of that man, Shaq Quarterman, and the beautiful turnover chain, the 305.
And Georgia Tech has a man down. We'll step aside. Back
Right here at the point of attack, able to seal the outside, creating a hole. Not only is he a great pass catcher, but also a great blocker on the edge at tight end.
Well, that takes us to our Aflac trivia question. Since 1967, Miami's had 5 tight ends drafted in the first round. Which school is tied with Miami for the most?
That's a good one right there.
Our crack staff once again at work.
With the most, man.
I mean, instantly Notre Dame jumps out, but some of the guys I'm thinking of, I don't think were first rounders.
There is Cameron Harris on the Wildcat, if you will, for a yard.
Iowa's the one that jumps out to me. I mean, 2 guys drafted out in the first round last year. Tony Moyaki going back. I don't know if he was a first rounder.
Tony Moyaki, good
tore us
call.
up in the Orange Bowl in 09.
Yeah, he was not a first rounder. Scott Chandler came out of there, but he wasn't a first rounder.
Oh, listen to E. Wood roll off tight ends.
Yeah, how about that?
Those are 2 former teammates of mine. That was easy money.
Okay.
That's a layup. Iowa's about as good a guess as I've got. Maybe Alabama could be one. They've had a couple here lately.
Smith.
Absolutely.
Is he a first rounder?
Herb Smith went early second round.
Early second. Well, there you go, Ewood. Thanks. That's why we got you here. There's a throw and a lot of contact. Brevin Jordan was trying to get off the coverage of Trey Swilling. And we had a bevy of markers.
Oh, well, that was a smart play by Trey Swilling. If he doesn't do that, he gives up a touchdown.
Holding defense, number 3. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
You said it, Eric. He's got the flexibility to be off the formation and cause a problem.
Yeah, this is the type of stuff that has NFL scouts absolutely drooling. We showed the great block he had to start this drive on the long run, and then there they bluff a little wide receiver screen, and he gets out running, and Trey Swilling's forced into his 3rd penalty of the game at the cornerback position.
So now, 1st and goal at the 8. 6:40 to play. Harley in motion. They'll hand it to him. He flips to Osborne, coming back near side. And Georgia Tech handles it well. Zamari Walton was the first guy there at 21. Took Osborne's legs from him.
Bit of trickery from University of Miami. I'm not sure if I love that play call. The double reverse down here close to the end zone. Just run the football. I mean, Cameron Harris has been on fire. He had the long run up the sideline. Just go ahead and run it. Create a 2nd and manageable so you're working your way towards 3rd and short. I love that play call from Dan Enos.
You see Parrott, the 235-pound fullbacks come in off Perry's hip with Harris. Nkosi looks and overthrows D. Wiggins. Trey Swilling was there. So now Miami's got themselves to 3rd and goal with under 6 to go.
It's almost a foregone conclusion that Georgia Tech's going to play man-to-man. The question is, how much pressure do they bring in? Do they leave a guy to spy for the running ability of Nkosi Perry?
Okay.
For University of Virginia, late in the game, had the pass play sniffed out, but Perry was able to knife into the end zone and score the game-winning touchdown. And can Georgia Tech avoid that here is the big question.
Perry to the end zone. Osborne broken up. Trey Swilling. Pretty good battle here, guys.
Well, it's a magnificent battle. You get KJ Osborne, who could give a little more to the inside, but it's a back shoulder throw, and that's why Jeff Collins loves these long defensive backs. He's able to play on the inside shoulder of Osborne, reach that long hand out, be able to bat the ball down. How about Trey Swilling? Has been penalized a number of times, but the holding penalty gave his defense an opportunity to play another down, comes up with the big play and forces the field goal.
Bubba Baxa for the lead. Headley holds. The kick is no good. Miami has missed from 34 and now from 27. 5:41 to go in South Florida, tied at 21. Well, tied at 21. Georgia Tech going to get it back at its 20 when play resumes after Bubba Baxa missed a 27-yard field goal. Time for Aflac trivia question answer. Since '67, Miami's had 5 tight ends drafted in the first round. Which school is tied with the Canes for the most?
Notre Dame.
Notre
He
Dame.
would. Atta boy.
I'm on the scoreboard this year, boys.
He would. But going back to that play on Brevin Jordan, Trey Swilling, Brevin Jordan's going to have a touchdown. Trey Swilling commits the holding penalty, a smart holding penalty, stands up against KJ Osborne in the corner of the end zone, and then the missed field goal. It's a great penalty that leads to no points for Miami.
Graham almost threw a pick to Quarterman. Adonicus Sanders was the receiver that James Graham was looking for, and Shaq Quarterman almost got one.
Well, there's Quarterman. There's Quarterman. He's able to read the eyes of James Graham right in the middle, and ooh, man. Woo. Those are the ones that haunt you, Wes. Hands on it.
He's going to have to give that turnover chain back after that one.
I don't know how this is going to end, but Miami may come back to rue that chance. Tobias Griffin, 5 yards-ish, 4.5. Roddy, if you're Jeff Collins, you're 21 all. It's been since game 2 against South Florida that you've been in any kind of one-possession type game late.
Well, Citadel after that.
Well, Citadel in the overtime.
Which they lost to the FCS Citadel team, but it's been a while. So now you're seeing what this team is made of. This is a big third down. If you give the ball right back to Miami, you may not get the ball back depending on how the drive goes.
Third down, Sanders converts out to the 36. And they got inside Bubba Bolden that time.
Offense number 73.
And a holding call
10-yard penalty.
will negate it on Zach Quinney.
And this is a quick throw. It's going to be a quick throw from the beginning. At the snap, here's Zach Quinney. That's where the hold is going to occur. Just wraps around the neck of the defensive player there. It looked like that was Trayvon Hill, who's been all over this Georgia Tech offensive line.
Amari Brown. Ooh. One of Georgia Tech's playmakers.
But again, another one of these miscues. I mean, that's going to be a slant throw to the boundary 10 times out of 10 with that look.
Right.
Zach Quinney commits the penalty after a first down. Now you're pressed back into a 3rd and 10 plus. Like 3rd and 16, excuse me.
Little delay. Here goes Mason. 25, 26-yard line. Amari Carter, Shaq Quarterman.
Georgia Tech just opting to go with the draw play. And you get a good gain out of it, but that's the danger of being 3rd and 16. You can get an 11-yard gain and still be well short of the marker. It's the frustrating thing. Georgia Tech has had opportunity after opportunity. You could say the same thing about Miami. And the sloppiness of this game is what's led to a really compelling finish.
Presley Harvin, a sky-high punt toward K.J. Osborne, who will signal for and make the fair catch. Don't forget the huddle with Jack Collinsworth, Eric McLean, E.J. Manuel, Mark Rick. Get you started on every ACC football weekend. Friday nights at 8. Next Saturday, a special 3 o'clock start time right here on ACC Network. And, of course, always on the ESPN app. Chris Cotter, Mark Herzlich, Kelsey Riggs standing by. They've got the 3:30 start at Charlottesville with Duke and Virginia. And then Florida State, Wake Forest tonight with Dave O'Brien, Tim Hasselbeck, Katie George. Presented by Geico here on ACC Network. Miami from its 25 with 4 minutes to go. Perry downfield. It is caught. That's D. Wiggins inside the 25.
Well, the question for Miami today is who is going to step up and make the big plays down the field with Jeff Thomas out. D. Wiggins gets one-on-one coverage down the field. N'Kosi Perry leads him away from the cornerback. Wiggins able to come up with the big catch. You see one-on-one with Zamari Walton, who's performed fantastic throughout the season, but Wiggins gets the better of him here in a big situation for Miami and gets them back into scoring territory.
Miami, who'd been averaging about 8 plays a game of 20 yards or more, Roddy, has now their 4th of the day. Jamon Brooks, who'd been playing very well for Georgia Tech, a non-recruited walk-on to this program, is shaken up on the play.
I think it's the 2nd time he's been shaken up, grabbing the back of his leg. You got to think this time of year and in this climate, it's got to be cramps or something of the like. Looked like one of those soft tissue injuries, but was down a little bit earlier getting it massaged. He's a great story, kind of a guy that Jeff Collins has pointed out a number of times as a guy that embodies what this program, he wants his program to be about.
Yep.
Question now is, if you're Miami, do you kind of go into 4-minute mode where you start to run the football, and pound it, try and drain the clock down? Georgia Tech only has 1 timeout, so you start to kind of play that game. Can we take enough clock while putting the ball in the end zone? Because there's no way you can trust your kicking situation at this point.
Correct. Harris trying to make a man miss and dives for a yard. Boy, both David Curry and Chimedza got into the backfield for the Yellow Jackets.
It'll be interesting to see if they get another field goal, who kicks it, because Turner Davidson kicked last week for them, and in this week they go back to Bubba Baxa, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, Davidson missed one earlier,
He
which is
missed
why
the
they went back to
34-yarder, and they went back to Baxa, who missed from 27.
Yeah. They may ask you to kick, he will.
That's what I was saying. You may want to stay away from the bench here, Eric. They may see if they can get the paperwork done for you.
Are they letting them both warm up in the net right now?
No, just Davidson's warming up.
Here's the throw to Osborne. That'll pick up 4 more. 3rd and halfway. 5 now for Miami.
To Eric, to your point, Davidson is warming up on the kicker's net, but Miami's going to, they've got to get their best 3rd and 5 play. I mean, you can't trust the kicking situations. You get a look at Bubba Baxa. So how do you scheme up something to get a 1st down here? Is it a screen? Do you just run the football, which they've had great success with?
I look at 23. Cameron Harris has got 132 yards on 15 carries today. After DJ Dallas was a 1st quarter scratch with an injury. And now here's Perry. He's got the 1st down. Steps out of bounds at the 11. As we're just beyond 2 minutes to play.
Well, Virginia learned this last week. Send pressure at your own peril, because if you're able to get it quick, N'Kosi Perry's just going to take off and run. His scrambling ability with the struggles of the entire pass protection, not just the offensive line, for this Miami team has led to a situation where a quarterback that can run is an asset, and you saw it there from N'Kosi Perry.
By the way, it's just outside the 10.
And there's a minute, there'll be a minute and 30 seconds left around there when this ball is snapped.
Will be interesting to see if Jeff Collins decides to use his timeouts right now.
Well,
He's only got one left.
Sorry, only one left.
Yeah.
You gotta look at what you use your timeouts on earlier in the game. A couple of fourth down plays where you want to talk it over. You know, calling 2 timeouts earlier, and now you can't stop the clock. Miami's essentially going to be able to do whatever it wants. As we get here, it'll be down under a minute, probably around 45, 50 seconds when they next snap the ball.
Right. You got to hope your defense can get a hold somehow, right?
Yep. And then they miss a field goal.
Harris. Whoa, what a collision at the 8. Clock keeps moving, 40 seconds to go.
You got to take the timeout here if you're Georgia Tech. What are you doing?
There it is.
And Rodney, to your point about them wasting 2 timeouts, I say wasting, you know, at the time it was good use of them in their minds, but when you use them 2 on offense, especially for a defensive-minded head coach like Jeff Collins, those types of head coaches generally say, those are my timeouts, those are the defensive timeouts, and they're saved for critical situations like this.
Well, 2 weeks ago, Turner Davidson kicked a 19-yard field goal against Virginia. Did number 47. In the first half, he tried a 34-yarder, and it was wide right. Then, Bubba Baxa a moment ago from 27, wide right. Will it come down to one of those youngsters before this day is over?
Wide right is something that Miami fans obviously know the phrase very well. But Miami's in an interesting situation here. You have to run the football. You're not putting the ball in the air here. So the question is, you run something to the left side just to center it, or are you going with your best run play to try to put the ball in the end zone? I would go with my best run play to try to put the ball in the end zone. That gives you the best chance to win.
Perry to throw. Shoots it for Osborne. Caught it! No, did not. All the way through. So it's incomplete. Christian Campbell was there defending for Georgia Tech.
Well, you have to commend the aggressiveness, but this is a low percentage throw, just a fade ball to the sideline. Able to swat the ball out. Good job by Christian Campbell of fighting. And now, after the field goal, Georgia Tech is going to have an opportunity. They're going to have a chance. Where if you run the football, you can dictate when you take that field goal.
25-yard try. This will be Davidson to give Miami the lead. 30 seconds left to go in the game. Blocked. Georgia Tech blocks it.
Maybe a little bit of that play call at the end there going to the end zone was because of this, but watch the effort of Georgia Tech. And honestly, Wes, that one's on the kicker. You have to elevate that ball over the line. There's no reason a field goal that short should be blocked at the line of scrimmage by these defenders. The kicker has to create elevation on that ball, get it over the line and through the uprights. You can't kick it low or else it gets blocked. There was not enough penetration for that to have resulted in a blocked field goal.
Chemedza at 6'3" was one of the guys that got a hand in there, but he might have had some help. This has been some kind of wild game today.
Some kind of wild game. How many times have we seen, we've seen Georgia Tech with double-digit drives twice that don't end up in points. We've seen Miami with chip shot field goals that don't end up in points. It's been 21-21 since halftime, and I'm sweating it's been so close.
Here is Mason, or Tobias Griffin, picking up 6. And that very well likely may wind out the regulation clock. So Georgia Tech, who is 6-8 all time in overtime, 0-1 this year. Remember, they lost to the Citadel in overtime. Miami, 6-6 all time in overtime, goes there for the first time this year. We end regulation tied at 21. Miami misses 3 field goals, 34, 27, and 25 here a moment ago. For Jeff McConaughey's coin toss. Some say the most important portion of the overtime is Who wins this?
It's not far from it.
Miami won the toss, so they're going to play defense.
Miami has won the toss, and they elected to go on defense. We will play on this end of the field.
All right, so there we go.
Really the story of the second half of both of these teams is opportunities missed. I mean, Georgia Tech driving the ball down a number of times, had a 52-yard field goal wiped off the board due to a false start penalty, fumbled after another long drive, a 16-play drive, ended in a fumble that Miami eventually recovered, and then Miami the missed field goals. So it's really hard to know what you're going to get in this overtime because neither team has been able to punch the ball in the end zone. Neither team's been able to execute on a fumble. It's been a little sloppy in this second half, but it's made for a very compelling finish.
Well, and this just underscores how chaotic the Coastal can be.
When you hear these coaches talk about it, I mean, Manny Diaz told us yesterday, we're expecting a 60-minute ball game.
Well,
now,
guess what? He got more than that.
I was going to say, he got more than he bargained for.
There's a look at the Coastal. By the way, Duke and Virginia, about 3:30. Carolina, Virginia Tech, same time at Blacksburg. And that outlines the 6 teams there. Pittsburgh a winner last night at Syracuse. Jackets on first down, pick up 3 with Jordan Mason, who's got a career high today after last week's 18-carry 106 contest at Duke. Mason is well over that number today.
He's been fantastic throughout this game. A true workhorse back, and this was a young Georgia Tech team coming into this year, and you start to see some guys emerge. Mason, the sophomore, being one of them.
17 carries, 118 yards for Mason. And he'll get it again. First down and more. Jordan Mason to the 1. Gervin Hall makes the tackle. First and goal, Georgia Tech.
As the game goes on, in the heat, it gets tougher and tougher on the defense. And Georgia Tech has absolutely dominated the time of possession in the second half. And the Georgia Tech offensive line is getting better and better.
Touchdown for the Jackets.
Big answer or statement for Georgia Tech, as it looks like we have a player down.
I think it's Mason who scored the touchdown, who's down. Jackets got right up on the line, Roddy, after Mason was tackled at the 1. And then the big back gets his 6th rushing score of the year.
And Georgia Tech has continuously established the run and really imposed their will on this Miami defense down the stretch. I mean, it has been completely counter to what we thought coming in. This Miami front is a big front, experienced, talented guys like Jonathan Garvin, Jonathan Ford, Pat Bethel, and then the explosive Greg Rousseau. And Georgia Tech has consistently found ways to break through, and it's been Jordan Mason for most of the day.
Yep. Well, he's set it off on this run here to the 1.
Yeah, just able to get through the whole make Romeo Finley miss. Gets in the secondary. He makes another man miss, and then able to just plunge in the end zone, dive in. And let's not forget, Michael Pinckney exited this game and still has not come back into it. We haven't seen him for much of the second half as you line up for a very, very significant extra point play.
Brenton King. Lucas Johnson will hold. And it is good. So now Miami, touchdown or bust in their first possession.
Well, this is why you choose to go second. You know what you have to do. You got to get the ball in the end zone. Manny Diaz is in for a battle here in his second, looking for his second ACC win. He's going to be faced with a number of decisions if they punch the ball in the end zone. The biggest one, do we go for 1 with this kicking game that's been inconsistent to be nice? Or they haven't been inconsistent. They've been consistently not good.
That's it.
or do you go ahead and kick it? But first is getting the ball in the end zone.
Let me ask you guys this, though. He's got an intriguing situation, though, because Harris has had a phenomenal day with 135 yards, and yet Perry gives him the ability to make plays in space in the throw game, too.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Play fake. They hand it to Harley on the end around, and whoa, what a play in space. Charlie Thomas might have paid the price for that one.
Charlie Thomas accelerates, delivers a great blow, and looks to be favoring that left arm. You said it pays the price, but comes up with a big play. Again, Miami with one of these little reverse plays that I just don't understand. Cameron Harris has been fantastic running the ball right at this Georgia Tech defense. Why don't you go back to that?
Right.
Especially on a first down in overtime. I understand wanting to hit the big play, but sometimes a single is just fine on first down.
And you're so much bigger than them up front on the offensive line. And on the year, you're 14th in the conference against the run. You're 127th nationally against the run. If you're Miami, you simply got to say, hey, this is overtime. The defense should be worn down. I'm going to give the ball to Cam Harris.
And they lost a yard, by the way. Back to the 26 on just a sensational play by Thomas.
And he's in the game because he's a disruptor. Talking about Charlie Thomas, accelerating in the backfield, making a great play.
Second and 11. Play fake. Incomplete, looking for Jordan. Antoine Owens got in the throwing lane from his defensive end spot against N'Kosi Perry.
And the run is not out of the question here. If you want to go back to Cameron Harris, it's not out of the question because there's no doubt that you're going for it on fourth down. You absolutely have to. So this third down play is about, obviously you're trying to get the first down, but at worst you want to get to fourth and manageable.
Wiggins at the bottom of the screen, a bunch look near the fields or the boundary side. That's Harley in motion. Third and 11 for Perry. Across the middle, Jordan the catch, held on. It's a first down. Wanye Thomas pounded Brevin Jordan.
Jordan is going to start on the right side of the screen, comes across the middle. And I'm surprised there, Georgia Tech not going with man-to-man coverage, try and force Miami's hand. Brevin Jordan just able to find a soft spot in the middle and make the catch.
When Jordan comes out, Michael Irvin has come in wearing 87. You run it here, Roddy?
Absolutely.
The give is Harris. And Georgia Tech will rally to make the stop after a yard to the 13.
And in this overtime, much of this, when you're tired, when you've been playing all game, when you've been fighting and scratching and clawing, much of it comes down to want to. And when you look at how these teams are responding,
right.
The pep in the step, the guys running all over the place, accelerating, making plays. And Georgia Tech hasn't been perfect, but they have played their behinds off. And in overtime, it looks like they're the team that's more excited to be there, albeit Miami may be the more talented team. Georgia Tech's not going to go easy.
Tied at 21, we're in the first overtime. Perry to throw on 2nd and 9, and it is caught. Harley, and he's brought down at the 7. Wanye Thomas in coverage.
It's a pretty good route. Harley just runs that little whip route where he goes in and then back out to the sideline. Perry delivers the football, and it's third down.
Third and almost a full 4.
Georgia Tech hustling guys on the field. They've gone big in the middle with Miami being in shotgun. That bunch to the bottom. They'd like to motion Brevin Jordan. There he is right there.
Perry moves in the pocket, loops it in the end zone, and out of play. Georgia Tech had Dominic pressuring N'Kosi Perry.
Well, they were looking for Jordan out in the flat, and then he turns up and goes into the end zone. Not able to find him. But this is your ball game here. You got to have your best play, play that you got in the playbook that's your best, regardless of if you run it or not. You've got to run it right here. Georgia Tech has to be aware of a number of things. First and foremost is the running ability of N'Kosi Perry. Secondly, you cannot commit a penalty on one of these passes thrown into the end zone.
Miami's 5 for 11 on 4th down this year. That's Jordan in motion. Perry, quick throw, Jordan to catch. Tackle is made. It'll be 1st and goal. When he caught the ball, I thought he was close to the 1st down, Roddy.
But watch when he motions across where Tariq Carpenter is. He's back past the 1st down marker. Brother Jordan just hooks up at the sticks. That's an easy pitch and catch on a 4th down for Miami. If you're Tariq Carpenter, you have to come up and challenge that and not just let the guy sit there right at the 1st down marker to be able to get the 1st down.
They're going to review this, Roddy. Let's watch the elbow.
See Brevin Jordan. He's down right there, and it looks like it's going to be right on the 10-yard line unless they rule forward progress. Excuse me, right at the 5-yard line. Unless they rule forward progress, that elbow is definitely down.
Wow.
You guys have the rules official up in the booth, so you have an unfair advantage. In my opinion, the forward progress would have been about where at the 4 where they got him.
Well, where he caught the ball certainly was, but he tries to make a move and comes back. And the question is, was it of his own volition or was he pushed back by the defender? Because when he struck back, and even on the first move, he's pulled back further than that. So I don't think it's going to be necessarily down right on that 5-yard line. I think they'll give him a little bit more than that. The question is how much more. That's where he catches the ball, but he's making a move going back. So the contact happens. It looks from that angle to be right at around the 4-yard line, and then he's pulled back a little bit further. This is a tough one for the referees and a huge call in this football game.
Yeah, because if he's marked short, ball game's over.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now Jeff McConaughey has the communicator and the replay official here. Also the benefit of the command center in Greensboro.
Yeah, and I'm sure this is going to be one of those that is thoroughly talked through. What did you see? How should we rule this? Where is he contacted? Where is he pushed back? Where's the elbow down? So many elements to consider in what is the most important play of the football game.
By the way, also the element that you mentioned here too is if they rule a catch and then forward progress, do they spot and measure? Here's McConaughey.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. The runner's forward progress is at the 4-yard line. The runner's forward progress is at the 4-yard line, and we will measure for a 1st down.
Okay, there's the point we were talking about, but they've said that the progress was where the ball was caught before he made that move.
So I'm not sure the ruling on the field actually stands then, because they are moving the ball back. So something had changed during the play. They did see enough to change the ruling of it being down on the 3 to being moved back to the 4, and now you're going to get a measurement.
Boy,
we'll
Jeff
see if
Collins
it's enough.
not happy at all.
Absolutely. I say football is a game of inches. We'll see if Miami got enough inches to be able to extend this football game.
Miami did not get the 1st down, and Georgia Tech is going to win on a measurement.
The ball is short of the line of game, and at the end of that overtime.
Georgia Tech beats Miami 28-21.
Wow. Just wow. I mean, obviously disappointment for Miami because you had the opportunities down the stretch. Missed field goals, missed opportunities, the inability to get the ball in the end zone. But how about Georgia Tech and Coach Collins? I mean, the fight of this football team, they have taken a beating in the press. They've taken a beating on social media because of things like the loss to the Citadel, the inability to get wins down the stretch. But this team performed, and once again, it was tied at halftime, Wes. Once again, Georgia Tech outscores its opponent after half.